think it's running.
This leader is provided to permit the projectionist to complete adjustment of focus and sound level before the film begins. This leader is provided to permit the projectionist to complete adjustment of focus and sound level before the film begins.
Yeehaw. What's cracking out there? Check 1, 2. Mic check, baby. Sort by newest. Customization. Check all that stuff. Okay. And what else do I gotta do here? I got a bunch of crap I gotta do. Everyone, a bunch of crap. Yeah, you gotta let this one play out a little bit. You gotta let that intro play out a little bit after that move last night. Well, hell yeah, leave Andy Constant and Jem on. Those guys are ballers. I'm not gonna be hey Mr. Talking Monkey, leave them on because this stream is likely going to be a stream that's just on. I'm not going to be here most of the morning. Got a bunch of stuff going on for the launch, and I'm being pulled in a bunch of different directions. I got to answer to those people all day long today. So leave them on right now. Mute me, okay? And I think that works. Let me know if that works for you. Hang tight one sec, guys. Hold on. You appreciate it. Thank you very much. All right. Got a bunch of coffee and stuff coming to me. Hang tight 1 second here. The mic is good. Thanks, Sammy. Appreciate it. Are my puts effed? We have to talk about that. It's right now. We have to discuss that. I'm going to be here with you for at least 15 minutes, half an hour, something like that, because we have a lot to talk about. More specifically, the gamma picture this morning is kind of wonky. So if I'm getting a bad read, I'm going to ask you out there if you're seeing that or not. Now, this could be a floor being created down here, but it always scares me to see a gamma profile like this. So the gamma this morning is compressing on the floor, and there's nothing underneath. There's like nothing. So we'll talk about that here for a few minutes. Just if you're a bear or a bull, it's not necessarily a warning, just to be careful where we are. So you'd be buying dips here for sure, and some stops underneath, and we'll take a peek at it and see what you guys think. By the way, how are y'all doing this morning? Y'all make money in the overnight or what? Hold on one second here. I gotta post the live stream here. Hold on. And hold on just one quick second here. I'm losing my voice. I'm like speak so much on stream that I'm losing my voice again. Like too much talking, blah 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 on stream, stuff like that. Like I need to cut the hours down. I need to cut the hours down to like 3 hours a day or something like that. But I fucking love being on stream. So or Joe was saying that to me. He was like, he's like, just say you love being on stream every day. And I'm like, yeah, I kind of like it. I'm like, I don't like it that much, and but still being on that much is fucking brutal. Like, it never ends. Let me post this really quick. Live stream is up on Twitter. An alert that it's on Twitter. How are y'all doing? Everybody doing great this morning. Hopefully you should be happy. And not if you're not happy, I don't know what else to say to you. It's fascinating because whenever we're before, it's like, nah, fuck that guy. After, it's like, hey, I want to follow. And it's like, well, the trade is done, right? We already did the trade. And we're going to look for the next trade, right? So it's always like we do the trade, look for the next trade. There's always fascinating thing that I always find that's like, it doesn't matter if you're going up or down, right? We could be going down, right? We're on the cliff, right? And we're standing right here, right? Standing right there, right? It's you and I, right? We're just chit-chatting and talking, and I'm like, let's go down there. And you're like, nah, I'm good, man. And then what happens, right? Woo, go all the way down, slam into the box, and then we're getting the bounce. And that guy right there is like, I want to jump in for more down. And I'm like, bro, we're going that way now, right? Same thing on the up and down side. Doesn't really matter. So good morning to all of you. If you did take the leap, congratulations. You like always before, never after. Dude, what a day, dude. What a morning, dude. This is a good morning. Right on, right on, right on. Yeah, of course you're short the open, dude. That was insane. They're not going to allow that. They never allow that to happen. Well, they allow it to happen to the open, but it was on fucking fire, dude. Then the Euro Open, they bought it all. It was wild to watch all this take place. It was a really good overnight and morning. Now we got to talk because I got to show you guys something at this point. So if you're a bull, right? This is bottom. This is it. This is the market. This is the market bottom. If you don't already know that, I'm going to let you know right now. This is the market bottom right around here. I'm going to prove it to you and show it to you here in just a moment. Just a heads up. And we know when if there is weakness, when it should come, right? It's at the end of Friday. So Friday close into next week, we should see weakness, some kind of a ramp down. And as a matter of fact, if you're hold on here. Let me do a couple things here. Why is this not happening here? Give me one quick second here. Where are my channels? Well, I know channels here. Do I have the wrong thing up? Hold on one second here. Hold on one second here. Indicators. My invite only scripts with channels. We're going to do channels today. Give me some channels here. There we go. Some channels. So let's start with something basic here, okay? Let's do some chit-chatting here. Excuse me, my voice is really killing me this morning. It's brutal right now. So we're gonna go to the trigger screen, okay? And if you're a bull, of course. If you're a bull, of course, let's spy right now, right? This is the channel on a 30-minute chart. If you're a bull or a bear, especially if you're a bear, right? If you're a bear, what do you see here if you're a bear? You see traditional charting. You see an ascending, doom doom trend right here, right? We're going to keep climbing, and you're going to get the bloodbath roll down to death at some point, right? If you're a bull, you're like, we're just going to consolidate, and I want my rip face blast off to the moon, trade 4750, and rock and roll, right? That's pretty much where people are right now. And there's a huge argument about this on FinTwit, right? We know that on smaller time frames that we are still fucking around, right? I made a post on FinTwit that said we're gonna ping pong side, right? We're going to buy, sell, and you're going to get bulls and bears. While that's happening, get pretty fucking angry. Let's call it what it is, right? You got bulls and bears out there. I made a specific post about this, I think, a week or two ago, where I said, you're going to watch us ping pong around with an eventual bloodbath. Not really a bloodbath, but a significant pullback. And you're going to get, along the line, you're going to get people pretty saucy, right? And all of this stuff in here, hold on a second here. All of this stuff in here, all this does is enrage, right? Just enrages people, right? And that's what it is, right? We already know what it is. We already know. And then you've got them like, you got bulls that are like, fuck you, we're going straight up there. We got bears saying we're going to break down right here and start blasting down to the depths of hell, clear up some of that, those closes down there, that kind of stuff. So we already know kind of where everybody is, right? We kind of know everybody's shot calling and all that kind of stuff. So, anyways, what I need you to know, though, is there's some fascinating developments going on. Now, or not just fascinating developments. We've got end of week coming up. We had the rotation into IWM, and there's this big question mark as to what happens. Do we break above and move higher? Do we break below and move lower? And I guess there's some excitement and panic over that kind of stuff. Now, I think we discussed gamma and its importance here, right? We're going to go over there right now. And how you're trading, right? Each one, right? But buy the bottoms, sell the tops. Buy the bottoms, sell the tops. And this is the SPX gamma picture. Now, this morning's gamma picture piqued my interest. The market, the gamma market down below is gone. There's nothing of significance down here. And I'm going to show you that another way at this moment, but I need you to understand that there ain't shit. And it's just disappearing. The bears are becoming bulls. Okay, do you get what I'm saying? Bears are getting scared and closing. This market down below is small. So what does that mean for you? Means that you need to pay very close attention to these levels right here. Very important that you pay attention to this. Hold on, that's not an arrow. Very important that you pay attention to this because this is the floor, and this is the only floor for SPX. So it is concerning, not huge concern, but it is concerning. You see them buying all this up here. We could easily break right through this, whoop, like it's nothing, right? But I want you to know that if you're a bull or a bear, that this is the buy zone down here, and there ain't shit down below. Okay. Now, conversely, what is happening on the upside? And there is market expansion to the upside. You've got 4650 up here. Right. Let's take a look to the upside. We've got 4,700 up here, and that's a 106 million. And then we've got 63 million at 4,750. So there's a lot of space up here, right? A lot of market up here that's unchanged. And, this market right now is focused on that upside. But this down here, man, it doesn't quite scare me. I just don't like this gamma picture for the market where this is it right here. So if you're a bull, I would say to you to mark these levels down, snip this page, and keep your focus down here, okay? Be patient and look for those dip buys down here to buy for these explosive moves. This picture has changed each day as well, so all this stuff has moved up and down. And so we're buying these gamma levels, but today's gamma levels, let's look at just today's gamma levels. Where would I want to buy this? Probably not right here. I probably don't want to buy this right here. I probably want to buy it down here with stops underneath. And if we begin to reject below here, I can stop myself out, right? This is where I'm buying my dips, and I'm putting some stops down here. And let's say a bear or a seller or whoever out there sells us underneath this and starts to reject for another downside move. Sure, I'll switch around and we'll ride this bad boy and this bad puppy down to the downside. But until then, this is where I want to buy. Okay, that's the greed setting, and this is where if I had a choice, I would buy this right here. Like if I was to say to myself, yeah, I'm gonna not give all my money back to the market, and I'm looking for that dip. Now, if we start heading higher here, right? Hey, Cap, we're going to leave you behind. We get above the hourly trigger, then so be it, and we'll run that up, right? We talked about that the past 2 weeks. We'll trade this market up as far as they want to go, as high as they want to go, and we'll start getting bearish down below here, and so on and so forth if things turn that way. So we got that out of the way, right? We're going to now go back to SPY. We're going to look at IWM as well at some point and Qs. So we're going to look at SPY really quick. We're going to go to oh, wait a minute, I'm on the wrong chart here. Switch over and just see this right here. If you are a bull, this is a 30-minute chart on SPY, right? You know the drill. You know the drill that we're looking for. Turn, right? Price action above the hourly trigger. We don't care about the squeeze. We just care about it coming back on the hourly trigger, right? Whoop. And confirming more upside to come. Yesterday was a perfect example of that, right? We looked back on 3 hours on a 30-minute chart. We saw the bearish 1 hour, 4 hour attempts to go to the downside in the morning. And we saw the reversal into the close yesterday. And we said, hey, we look back 3 hours and this downturn of the hourly trigger, right? The downturn on the hourly trigger is now turning up and prices above it, right? So you got the bears coming in, then you got the bulls coming in into the close yesterday. So we want to be looking for that again, right? We're looking for that again. Only the choicest setups. So only the choicest setups, right? So what do we know about this morning? So we're going to look at this at SPY, IWM, and Qs. We know right now that the hourly trend, right, was bullish, 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 right? And right now, the hourly trend is flat. We also know that price is below the hourly trigger. We also know that when price comes above the hourly trigger, if the hourly trigger is coming up, that we are bullish. So until that happens, we're not going to do a dip buy, right? You can try to time some of this stuff down here. You can try to, like, right now this is pretty bearish, right? See, that's like that white line, that 1 and 5 minute. This 5 minute is still bearish. We have not seen the 1 minute trade sideways. We have not seen the 5 minute trade sideways yet, right? We have not seen a cross. We have not seen a cross on the 1 minute trigger through the 5 minute trigger yet, right? So we're not bullish on that one yet. We haven't seen price revert to that, have we? Haven't seen price come back up, start consolidating, start breaking higher, and then confirming here. We haven't seen it come up here and squeeze and then confirm on the hourly trigger. So none of that stuff is saying buy a dip yet. None of it's saying buy a dip yet. We know that this morning, right where we are right now. So if you're a bull, you got nothing to do. If you're a bear, you are in control right now, right? We sold down. We had the cross up here. That's a bear cross right there, right? We got price, right? Grabbing liquidity, sending it down, slam into the hourly trigger. Come back up here, check the 5 minute trigger. Get underneath, right? That 1 minute, and bam, slam it down, right? Right now, what are bears trying to do? Come back up here, check that 1 minute trigger, check that 5 minute, and check that hourly trigger for a bearish trade to the downside. And what do we know about this move to the downside? Let's take a look at it one more time if we can in the background here. And give me one quick second here. Hang tight here. I'm going to save that really quick. We're going to switch back to the gamma profile down here, right? And what do we know? we know that back on the 21st, right, at 2:30 in the afternoon, that's the bottom, right? We know that's the bottom down there. And so we know right around, what time is this right here? 1:30 in the afternoon on the 21st. So we're going to go back to so I got that right somewhere right down. Hold on one second here. Just make sure I got this right. Somewhere right down in here. Somewhere right down in here. And also maybe somewhere down in here, we will begin to look for that demand. So right down in there, this is where we're trying to buy a dip. Hold on a second here. Trying to buy a dip down in here, whoop, to go back to the upside. And if it fails, we have stops underneath. Otherwise, unless price gets above the hourly trigger to head up, right, we're not buyers, right? Unless this begins to improve, we're going to be waiting down here. If you're a seller, you're in control right now to these downside targets. That's 453.40, 454.60, somewhere down inside here. I'll leave that up for you. Good afternoon, Alex. How are you doing? This is real-time gamma on SPX for the entire market. The entire market. So every morning we go in, we pull the data from the CMO, and we create a gamma profile every single morning. It's all of it. It's all of SPX gamma in the market. All of it. Hold on one second here. All right. What's going on, Dan Brislin? What up, Willem? Hello, Matt Colella. Hell yeah, Sammy. What is going on? Let's see here. Let me reset this over here. Here is your levels right now. We're breaking through the pivot. Let's look on the Weeble chart too. Negative gamma below over here, right? Don't want to be trading down here, do we? Well, I shouldn't say that. As a bull, I would love to buy that down there. So any of that we can get down there, let's get it down here. If it begins to come to the upside, we'll trade that. But otherwise, looking for a dip buy down there, somewhere down in here. Hey, David AMS, what's going on, brother? Good. So David AMS is here this morning. Good to see him. We were chatting this morning. Hold on one second here. Let's open that up a little bit and see if we can get down a little bit, or grind a little bit further down there and just fill up all of this demand down here. Whew, beautiful right now. Yeah, I agree with that, Willie. Some mornings, Willie, I make the stream later because I want the market to open too. Sometimes you'll see me come on late and I'll give you an excuse, and the real reason is because I want the market to breathe before we start trading the day. Bork McGork said I made a shitload for my phone in bed selling my dash calls I was talking about the other day. I did the same thing this morning, man. I was like, take the money and run, click, drink some coffee, hang out with the wife and the kids this morning, and do nothing. I was pretty happy with that. It was a good morning. Big Ball saying went full burr this morning. Right on, brother. What else we got going on? Trader Podcast, what's up, my man? I think we're Trader Podcast. We're gonna get together, dude, with vol signals, brother. We got to do that, like this week, next week, stuff like that. Good morning, Jill. How are you? Good to see you here. Everybody's here this morning. Trying to blast through some of these comments right now and read what everybody's saying here. Check in on everybody. Puts. Dan Brislin's asking about puts right now. So let's look at puts right here.
So
okay?
Apple readies the new iPads and M3 MacBook Air for a spring release. So Apple's planning new iPad Air, iPad Pro, and MacBook Air models.
As far as I can tell, Dan, right here, right? Everybody's short here. So this is where they are. They're short right here, and they're looking for a bloodbath down here. We're going to snap some lines for S1. First target would be 455.13. Right there. Dan, if you're bearish here, I'm with you, man. 100%. Right down here, brother. That's your price target. Right down inside of there. Let me just check one more thing here. Hold on one second. I want to make sure I'm more exact down here. A little bit more exact down here. There's this one down here too. And there's this little guy right down here too. Yeah, these buyers are here. They are here. Or we think that they're here, I should say. This is the market right here. I would still be the only thing that I would maybe stress to you down here is as we get closer, I would be fearful of these buyers stepping in. As we get closer, I'd really like to get bearish underneath this level down here, like put the bear suit on, that kind of stuff. But until that, I would expect like V-shapes, V-shape buying to continue. As we approach this area down here, you're gonna expect buyers to step in. Morning, Stacy. How are you? Have we gotten bear music today? Hey Jade, let's check IWM right now too. We'll check IWM. We'll check the Qs too. Let's check both right now. Yeah, this is the place for bulls to be looking to buy a dip. We know that SPUs can go down a little bit more, so it's possible you could see something like this. And the real trade is down here. So keep your eyes on 184.30 as a possible, just a little quick capitulation. Though, because we're on the hourly trigger here, it would not shock me to see a reversal. So if you're looking to get long on IWM and small caps, I'm going to show you right now what you want to see to get long, okay? So if you want to be getting long here, you don't have to take the long here. You just wait and see how it develops. But you'd be looking for something like this, right? And then something like this, right about there. So what you'd be looking for is this reversal right here, right? And here, can I switch this over to the trigger screen? So what you'd be looking for before you even take a long here, you don't have to be you don't have to jump on a hand grenade down here or nothing. You want to see price either come up right now or blast down, right? Come back up. Never get caught in this. You already know what this does, right? This is the finger trap. This can blow your account in here, right? To the downside, you get liquidated down here. You fail, right? So if you get that squeeze up here, you're looking to beat this previous high right here. So whoop, you see that happen. comes back down and just consolidates and starts to check. And as that's happening, you're ready to go with calls, and boom, we're off and running to the upside. So there's some work even now for IWM to continue to the upside. We're not quite there right now. I'd be the person that just sits on the side here and wait to see if this develops to the upside and then jump on board. Or you can take 5-minute trades if you want to. Like you could do like hey, I'm going to buy a dip down here. Hold on. I'm going to put some risk on right here, right? Yahoo, right? Grind all that. So like take the money right here. Buy that, but only for that amount of time. Come back down here, jump back in again for that up there. And then you're off and running. This is where the real money is up here, by the way. So just let it do its thing, okay, is my point. Hey, yeah, same to you, Trader Podcast, man. Dude, Trader Podcast. I heard that Andy Constant and Jem got on to a room this morning to talk to each other or something like that. So I thought it was fucking great that you made that kick-ass meme. And I don't have a lot of time to get on Twitter and like get into conversations with people that I love. And getting on Twitter last night, being able to like get onto your page and your profile, go through it, and see all the shit that you post was awesome sauce. So did Andy ever reach back out and say anything to you? Because I saw Jem did, but I didn't see Andy come out and say anything to you. I'm hoping that he didn't. He gave you the fist pump or whatever. Exactly, Jade Pasture. Jade Pasture just made a great comment. She said, waiting for confirmation to degen some weekly calls. 100%, Jade. 100%. You guys at least see this right here, right now. This is IWM. I'll show you the Qs really quick. Do you guys want me to show you? Do you guys want me to show you NQ and ES? I can too. We can do that if you want. So right here, this is the Qs. Here, you guys can snap pictures of this. This is the portrait of the Qs, right? What do you want to see? Same as IWM, right? You want to see developments of price to the upside. You want to see the hourly trigger continue the upside. You want some confirmation that we're going to go higher here. You want the 1 and 5 minute cross to the upside. All that stuff to happen to begin to make that run to the upside. So there's the Qs. If you want a snap picture, you're more than welcome to. Let me put the why is the velocity suite not showing right here? Hold on 1 second here. We got some wonkiness going on here. Whoop. Hold on here. Hang tight. Give me 1 quick second. I got some wonkiness going on here. Hold on 1 second here. Turn that off. I still have, dude, even on my end, trying to make this shit public is trying to make this shit public has been a pain in the ass at the least. Got all kinds of like screwiness going on in the background. Let's look at Qs on a 30-minute basis. This is where I personally like intraday trading. I always check this 30-minute to see, hey, am I ready to take a long intraday? And it's kind of neutral right now on the hourly velocity. I would really like to see that hourly velocity like come down here so that I can buy Qs down here. Okay, so this velocity. This is all supportive velocity so far on the daily basis. We haven't seen lower highs yet. So still looking for a dip to buy. For me personally, haven't seen it yet. So we'll pay attention to that. Looks like it's there. You can see it right there. It's almost ready to turn around. So it starts if velocity either comes down to the negative on the hourly or improves to the positive to the upside, we'll then take a trade. So right now I'm neutral on Qs. Not bearish, not bullish. Here, I'll do NQ if you're trading futures really quick and show you guys the NQ chart. So here's NQ. Oh, look at that sexy little target down there, right? Have that little, it would be so awesome if there was like, woof, and then straight back up. Little liquidation break, panic all the bulls, and then boom, we're off and running. I don't know if that's going to happen, but I would love for it to happen. I bet you there's a bunch of bears out there that would love for it to happen too, but If it can happen, here's your daily trigger. I don't ever want to see price, though, get stuck down here. I do want to warn you on this NQ chart, right? If you see price come down here and not do a V-shaped recovery immediately, there is the potential heading into next week of this action down here on NQ. I'll show you guys ES really quick, too. So you can have a decent portrait of that. You can always snip. Oh, yeah, we don't talk. I don't, you guys never see this stuff, do you? I never, you guys ever see this stuff? I never show you guys this stuff. You guys want to see some coolness? I don't ever get to show this stuff. See that? See that monthly trigger coming up from the downside right here? So, you know, here's ES, right? Look at that little zigzag channel right here in the 30-minute chart, right? 30-minute basis right there. Maybe we can get that little downside move and then a little bit of consolidation. Weakness maybe into Monday or Tuesday. And, you know, that's possible. But or we start to reverse it to the upside, stay above that hourly trigger, and we start moving up to the upside. So there's ES, if you want to see it. There you go. And then we're going to head right back over to SPOOs and see if we can see a reversal taking place to the upside. A 1-minute trigger here. Keeping our eyes. A little bit of a double bottom right here, right? Double bottom, higher or low right here. That's all good. Check, check, mark like that. Squeezing up right now up into this hourly trigger, right? So if I'm a bull, what am I looking for? I'm looking for that right here, right? Rejection above here. And I want to see a new high. I'd really like to see that, to be honest with you. And squeeze up there. Something like this, right there, and then heading on out, like right in here. That's what I want to see. If you're a bull, you want to see, like, break this previous high, smash up there. I don't care if it has to be like this to get up there, but you want to see that, come back down, consolidate, and start heading higher. So we'll leave that up for right now, see what happens, or if we reject the downside. Be very tactful in here if you're a bull. Make sure you're like in, out, in, out, in, out, so you don't get ground up. This is a place in here where you can get destroyed. So don't do that. Do not get destroyed. Do not get trapped. I'm going to warn you guys out there of something, okay? Well, I don't care if you're a buyer or a seller. I'm going to warn you guys of some. Blinders on right now where we are in price. Blinders on. This is a time where you're going to hear people out there telling you sell it down to the depths of hell, and you're going to hear bulls telling you buy this shit and we're going to the moon. And there's a trap here for both buyers and sellers. I want you to know that as a buyer and seller. There's a trap here to trap you into one of those theses, and they're gonna grind you to dust. And dealers know this, so that they can grind you as we come up into this area here. So be very careful with convictions right now until we begin to have like a significant downside move, or we develop to the upside. Okay. Yeah, we traded it yesterday to the upside, so we're just looking for another dip buy here. Same thing as the day before on IWM, right? We're getting all the action in the overnight, so but it did trigger to buy yesterday. We rode it up into the close. Now this morning we're doing the same fucking thing, right? Exact same thing we're doing right now. Just waiting for that confirmation. How y'all doing? Hey, Addie, how you doing? How's everybody doing out there? Y'all doing well this morning? Now, I'm in meetings. Like, I've been in meetings all morning long. I have more meetings right now. We're trying to launch today at some point, if possible. And a lot of people have put a lot of hard work into us launching. We have administrators from Discord. We've got administrators, moderators from Discord. We've got admins from YouTube and Twitch. We've got admins from Twitter. We've got developers in the background, all this stuff. And we're trying to get launched so that you guys can trade on your own, basically, right? And make money regularly. So we're trying to get all that stuff done. I got Binky. Binky hasn't slept, I think, in 3 days. So people are like, what has he been doing? I'm like, I've been making videos. Like, and of course, it's all raw, right? So Binky hasn't slept in like 48 hours. I think 72 hours, if I'm being honest. He's just been in the background, just editing and editing and editing. So there's a lot of production going on that you guys don't see. I'm excited. You guys should. I don't know about you. I'm fucking stoked right now. I am like on cloud 9 right here because we have spent 3 years, all of you and me, right? We've spent 3 years to get to this point, and it has not been easy. And so I'm stoked. I am super stoked where we are right now. Yeah, Flom, so I was on the phone. So I was trying to, I had to pull the tools and test them and stuff this past week. So I was like, fuck it, beta test is done. And Binky came to me. If you're a member, right, or if you had access to it, I want you to know that Binky came to me and just screamed. He didn't scream, but he was like, "What the fuck are you doing?" And I'm like, what's happening? He's like, everybody's pissed. And I'm like, why? And he's like, they need the tool. And I'm like, oh, that's a good thing. I'm like, that's a fucking good thing. That means it's working. So that's good. We get very short-sighted as traders and investors, and we need it now, right? We need it like it's always now. It's always like today, this moment, this hour, this minute. But if we stand back for like 5 seconds and just look back, or like look, and you'll see that that we have some time. Everything's gonna be okay. The stock market's a fascinating thing. It's like there's always doom, right? There's always a crisis. It's like crisis today. What's the crisis this morning? Jerome Powell. What's the crisis this morning? JPM. What's the crisis this morning? It's whoever it is that's like the biggest soap opera, the coolest soap opera in the world. Oh yeah, right. Oh, look at that, huh? So this is a good thing. So let me show you guys something here. We just talked about traps, right? Just talked about developing price before we start getting bullish here, right? Look what they just did to people. Look what they just did right here. See that right there? Oh, trapping you in, right? All your bullishness trapping you in. So just be cool, chill right now. If you're a bull, just hang out. Trust me, this is a trap. This is a trap for bears and bulls. They're gonna trap. You guys are all gonna have your theses, and they're gonna take all of your money. I assure you. I wish I was a dealer sometimes. I would love to just sit at that desk and be like, "Who are we fucking today? We're gonna fuck the bulls. We're gonna fuck the bears. We're gonna fuck all of them. We're gonna fuck everybody today. What are we gonna do? Who are we putting the paint on today? It'd be great." Like who deserves more pain today? I love you, Stacy F. I see you, Stacy. I see your comments. I love you too. Yeah, we're doing this. We're going live. I'm so stoked right now. It's like butterflies. Everybody's like, so just so you guys, everybody in the background that's working on this, like everybody's everybody has anxiety. Everybody's like, am I getting left behind? I'm like, nobody's getting left behind. I guess that happens, right? You get like people that are like power tripping and stuff. All these people that have been there since day one, their fuckers are all there. So those are my boys. They'll be my boys, my girls, forever and ever. I'm gonna know these people when we're old and gray together. So I love everybody. I love, dude, like that loyalty and friendship through thick and thin. Can't beat that shit. David AMS, if you're out there right now, I love you, man. I will always love you, brother. Forever and ever and ever and ever. I don't care how we know each other. You're my guy, man. 100%. So hell no, we ain't leaving nobody behind. This is our thing. This you guys created this. This is all the only thing that you guys did. I want to tell you guys something. I want to tell everybody out there that's watching the show right now. I want you to know something, okay? I will never fucking violate your trust, and I appreciate you putting that faith into me. I want you to know that I will be there for you, no matter what. Okay, there'll be nobody's getting left behind here. So I want you to know that. I appreciate that. I know that, or I think deep down inside that has nothing to do with the trading or the show or any of that kind of stuff, that this is like a unspoken agreement of trust between all of us. So I really appreciate you putting that faith into me. I am very grateful for that. So that will always be there. I love you guys, 100%. Yeah, I love all you guys, dude. You guys, you know. And I want you guys to also know, right, I want one last thing I want you guys to know. As we launch this, right, you are going to, as one of my friends over time, I want you to know that you are going to see, blowback and pushback and anger and emotions and all that kind of stuff. And just let it roll off right now. Just don't, just keep on trucking. Keep on trucking, blinders on, do your thing, and all that will go away. It'll all go away. It'll all like all the drama, all that stuff that surrounds it. That's normal. It's part of what we're doing right now in this transition. You're going to make some people happy, some people ecstatic, some people are going to be angry, some people are going to be upset. You've got wolves out there in sheep's clothing. You don't know who everybody is. You think someone's someone, but they're not, right? You got wolves. You got do-gooders, like Robin Hooders, I call them. Think they're doing the right thing, but they're not. They go from one thing to the next thing, and they show no loyalty. So there are a lot of different people out there, right? So just let, no matter what you hear, good or bad, just like blinders on, hang out as we make this transition, and it's gonna be fucking awesome. And if it doesn't work, right, we did what we wanted to do, right? We did what we wanted to do. We did it. We did it for 3 fucking years. We made a change for a retail trader for 3 years, and that is a massive accomplishment. Very rare that happens. That like all of people come together like we've come together. So it's fucking awesome. Cheers to you out there if you've been here since day one. So, all right. I respect all of you guys. Respect you too, Will, man. I'm telling you what, man. Just it's gonna be, if you've never been through this or seen this take place, just sit back, grab a cocktail, and watch it happen. It's fucking awesome as those things happen. Remember, right, those green boxes down there, right? Where does Cappy want to get long? You see it down there, right? See it down there. Either down below, baby, or development to the upside. Otherwise, sit on your hands. I love you, Bork. Dude, so Bork, I want to tell you. So Bork just said, I've lurked on you on Twitter since day one. I want you to tell you something, Bork. Last night, okay, I went to try to find. So what I want to tell you a funny fucking story. So last night, right? So someone that I really respect is, I really respect more than I can ever say, is Jedi Marcus. And Jedi Marcus deletes his Twitter. And every once in a while, that someone that doesn't know him is like, why is he deleting his Twitter? Is he afraid because he's wrong? And I'm like, no. He deletes his Twitter because he likes a clean profile, and he doesn't want to ever gain fame or prestige from previous examples, right? So I have a lot of respect for that. Like, Jedi Marcus is a badass, and that guy could easily have probably left his greatest shit up going back to day one and have 1 million followers. And he doesn't. He's just like, I live by today. And so what I did on my own about 3 months ago is I started I paid for a program to delete my history to follow in his footsteps. I'm like, I'm going to fucking delete all this shit. So last night I was like going through my previous posts and forgot that I had done that. And all my shit's my whole history on Twitter is being deleted slowly over time. And I was like, I can't find any of this stuff from October. I can't find the October 11th, 12th posts. I can't find the December posts or the March posts or any of this stuff. So I had to go back to the Wayback Machine to find some of it. And I was like cutting and pasting it. And I'm like, I'll just post this stuff and see who remembers this stuff. And dude, friends came out of the woodwork that I haven't even seen in my feed for a year, because Twitter sucks. Twitter's like if you're on Twitter and you get like 1,000 followers and you follow 1,000 people, you see those guys all day long. And then Twitter does this fucked up shit where they like shit can your friends, and they try to feed you things for you to react to and get angry about, and other high follow accounts, all this other shit. And so when those people came out of the woodwork last night on my fucking Twitter handle, dude, it made my whole entire year because those are my friends. And it was fascinating to see those people because those people are my fucking real friends that I've known since day one. And so Bork, man, I love you, brother. And anyways, it was really cool. Yeah. It's still somewhere. I tried to dig it all up yesterday or late last night, and they have snapshots of on the Wayback Machine. They have some snips, but they're missing some of those time periods. Are just gone. So anyways, I thought I'd repost them only not for the, and I didn't want to repost them because I want to be like, yeah, look at me, I'm awesome. I want to repost them because there weren't that many people then. Like there was like, I remember on October 11th, 12th of last year, that morning, it was about 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning. And we were streaming. And I went on a fucking rampage. I was like screaming and yelling and cursing, and I was getting rain shit on me. And that low, May low, same thing. James Rowland and I are friends from that May bottom. And then the October bottom, like there was a very small group of sellers and buyers that had their blinders on, knew where to sell to, knew where to buy from, and it was fucking awesome. It was like a moment in time that I just wanted to be like, hey guys, you guys still out there and all that kind of stuff. And so I appreciate, dude, those friendships for life. Those are epic moments in the market for me. So I know they are for you too. And they're very emotional moments in the market too, right? Do you guys remember those moments in the market? They're very emotional. In the cacophony and the noise of the media and the cacophony and the noise of traders. And I don't know. I live for that shit. So I love you too, Sigma Hedge. Full porting, 3,500, baby. Let's check this gamma down here. See if we break through this stuff over here. Let me put this over here. Tell you what, man, there's nothing below those green bars. This market has nothing down there. There's like shit down there. Let's look at it. I mean, just look at that. These fucking, I know there's bears out there right now. They're like, they want to see that fucking swan dive right down there, baby, and just take it. Let's see what this real market is right now. So we can see it down there. You see that down there? Look at that juice down there. Oh, there's that 44.50 down there. It is not a staircase. By the way, it's not a staircase below here. There's no staircase down there. This is like we're coming into the real bottom of the market here. We start blasting through there, man. Hold on to your panties. Hex Plant saying those October, March dip buys have been beautiful for my 401k. Right on, brother. RS saying I love the emotions in the market too, like this morning when I felt homicidal about my positions. Let me ask you that question. Let me ask you a serious question. If you were short on that open, in any way, long puts, short the market, whatever you were selling the market, were you in some pain up there or not? I bet the emotions are running high this morning for sellers, and of course we're right back to where we were, right? Sell the or buy the dip, sell the rip, trade it sideways, ping pong action, and just like stick the stick inside of the hen house, right? It's like a fox coming into the hen house and just stirring up shit and then leaves. Hey, what's going on? To the point. To the point's in 0 to 8 puts right now. You want me to take some puts with you? Hold on a second here. Let me look at this here. Still no good. Still no upside development. Staircasing us down right now. I know what, I'm not going to buy puts because I'm really afraid of like that whiplash, like straight up squeeze. I think we do go down there, but it's going to be fast. Be quick here if you're a seller. You can be short here, but just be really fast here. This should move fast to the downside. Be really fast down here. Right on. Hack Plant said it was scary for my IWM puts, but the December 15th GEX at 180 still looks juicy, so I held right on. The my thoughts on this week into next week is that sideways, right? Grind, outperformance by IWM, and then as we head into next week, a fucking bloodbath. Well, not like major bloodbath, but if you're a bear and you've been like diamond handing, I think you're going to see that print that you're looking for. And I've got a hedge on the market that I'm hoping to get a print on as well. So I actually have a hedge in this market. If we can get down to that 444, 440, any of that kind of stuff, I'm gonna be a happy guy. So just patience, don't look at it, and just chill if you're a seller. Yeah, man, just blinders on if you're a seller. If you're a seller, just fucking blinders on. Just like zone out everyone, all the noise out there. Or you're gonna get paid. I assure you, you're gonna get paid here. Heading into next week, I think I shouldn't say assure you, but
so keeping an eye on the markets here.
I think we get paid.
Now down 0.1%. The Nasdaq down 0.1% as well. The Dow is around flat.
Bork McGork's like, that's exactly what I'm doing. Laugh my ass off. It's all Gucci. Exactly. Just chill, man. You're gonna get that print. You're gonna go on social media and be like, "Fuck all of you. I got paid." Had to wait 2 weeks, but I did. Hey, what's going on, Binky? What do you got, man? Binky just said bankers are testifying before Congress today. Here's my recap. Blah 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 blah. Love it, Binky. Yeah, Blitzowitz checking in saying there's not even 30 million in volume on SPY today. I don't like the gamma picture this morning. I don't like it's sketchy to me. It's begging for a rug pull. It's straight up begging for a fucking rug pull. There's the floor is right there, like right where we are is like not exactly there, but this is the floor right here, and there ain't shit under here. Nothing. Not a thing. If they wanted to pull this rug today, if like GS was like, or if Icon was like, "Fuck you, we're gonna pull the rug," this is it right here. What do I think about Chewy going into earnings today? You guys, you want to take a peek at Chewy really quick? We can. Give me 1 second and I'll set it up for you. Who's this? Troy Baker? Troy Baker, I got you, brother. Seeing as we're sitting here watching this happen, I will do Chewy right now. We'll give a freebie out there, right? It's been freebies for 3 years, I think. Hold on 1 second. I got you, brother. Let's take a look at Chewy. Ooh, Chewy looks good. Chewy looking saucy, huh? I like the structure of Chewy. And hold on here. Give me 1 quick second. I like the all right, so this is a good one to look at, by the way. I don't want AI helping me here. Hang tight 1 second. This is a really cool ticker to look at because it's a really cool ticker to be looking at right now because whenever we give me 1 quick second here. Where's Chewy? Here's Chewy. Chewy has an expected move of wow. They have so Chewy has an expected move today of or into their next expiry, which is December 8th, right? They have an expected move of 13.2% where they are right now. 13.2%. So let's look at Chewy. And let me bring up let's bring up Chewy. Bring up Chewy here. Let's bring it up down below. Let's not switch from this. Hold on a second here. Give me 1 quick second. One quick second here. Okay, so this is Chewy. What's fascinating about Chewy to me right now is this right here, okay? I like to see this. On a daily basis, always like to see this turning to the upside, right? And price not following to the upside. So the key point here would be you see these series of lower or higher lows. You see improvements on a daily basis, and you're not seeing price reflecting that. And that's showing demand down here, right? Demand for a massive upside move. Now, we're coming into their earnings report, where if we were not coming into their earnings report, I would expect an explosive move to the upside. These earnings reports is when dealers, right, can manipulate the price of a ticker that otherwise looks great. And they have a 13% expected move here, right? So under normal circumstances, I would be extremely bullish here on Chewy. ER would not be shocked to see dealers fuck you and then make that move to the upside. Okay? So I'm going to let you know that. I also want to show you this on a 30-minute basis, at least for trend's sake. Always like buying this kind of stuff right here, right? Dip down here, dip down here. Everything is improving even though price is telling you no, right? So that actually, it's like a counterintuitive thing. It's a divergence that's bullish. So you're like, I'm buying this. Oh, God, I'm in so much pain. But the reality is you are looking for this explosive upside move in Chewy. So price right now, it's parked on its daily trigger. Currently, right? You are setting up right now. There's a few things you're looking for. You're being rejected here in the daily. But you are looking for the support of the hourly trigger, right? And you're looking for successful back tests and successful upside look backs that are bullish, right? So whatever that squeeze is, right? You want to just keep holding that, and create that 4-trigger bull cluster to the upside, right? But we do have, again, earnings that can go against that thesis and all of this beautiful structure right here. So this is what I'm going to say to you. 13.8%, right? Expected move, 13.8%. Let's see how much of a move that is from current price. That's 7%, right? This is 13%, right? 13.30 down here. Right, so we're going to snap a little box down here. And if you're a greedy bull, what are you looking for? You're a greedy pig bull. You want that move down here, don't you? Right? You want that move. You want to panic. You want to see like a panic. Fuck other bulls, right? They're up here and they're all bullish, and you get this opportunity to buy that dip and just moon, right? So that's where I am on Chewy, is down here, okay? That's where I am. If you are not there on Chewy, dealers are down here too. They're like, yeah, fuck all these bulls, right? Then we make the move later. If you are not that person, you're like, hey, Cap, fuck you, I'm bullish. I'm going to tell you that keep buying the hourly trigger. That's $18.75, right, for that upside target. So anything like this that you can buy to stay on trend, that's your spot, okay? That's where most people are going to be buying. They come down here, buy this, and they're trying to get those upside targets. And we have the other 13% or so expected move to the upside up here. I think it's 13.5, something like that. Right up there, right? So here's your target to the upside right here. That's your red. Right? And this is where I want to buy. Me personally, I want to buy that one down there for that trade right there. Okay? So that's what I want. If you want to trade this and stay on trend, your buy is at $18.75. Looking at this, I am overall bullish on Chewy. It's just a matter of being patient, timing your trades, and for a possible volatility-laden event, even if it's bullish, to just jump on and ride that bad boy up. So I'm bullish on Chewy. So pick your poison for risk. That was all I could tell you on that one. Chewy, done. Is that good for you? Did I do okay for you on Chewy? Yeah, you're into you're down to 17. You're in $20 and $20 call strikes, right on. Yeah, right on, Troy. The one thing, the caveat there, Troy, would be where that bottom dip buy is. If we bounce down there and start rejecting, be careful. You don't want to see him start setting it down over time. Matter of fact, Troy, after their report, let's look at it again. After the report, let's take a look at that ticker again and see if we can glean if we should buy down there. If we go down there, if we should buy down there, or if it's more negative than it looks like. Yeah, if you're looking for that target to the upside, I would give it 1 or 2 strikes out. I'd give yourself some breathing room, so that I would give yourself some breathing room. Then even market conditions right now is saying to be patient into next week for the rate decision. I was talking to Joe Donut, and Joe Donut and his dad were making some decisions on staying long or short in this market. And I got to tell you guys, if you're long this market, the underlying, you're doing one of 2 things into Tuesday. Can someone answer to me on chat what people are doing that are long this market in a meaningful way? They're realizing their gains, right? That means they're taking their money and leaving, right? If they're going to stay long through this rate decision, what else are they doing? They're going to hedge that rate decision, right? They're not going to be naked into it. So think about that as the week progresses into next week. What people with exposure to the market are going to do. That's right. And selling non-performers, right? That can't come back. They have no way to come back. They're going to pump the ones that they can to realize get profits, and they're going to cut the dogs loose that have no chance in printing for them into end of year. Abso-fucking-lutely. Buying OTM calls. I love you, Carrillo. And hedging. Fuck, you guys are savages. So Brandon Cattle said 480C, 12.8. 480C is look like a solid dip, 50 cents right now. So what I always like when I'm buying, so you can do that. Let's say that's a good post that you just made. So if you're in the thesis or the camp of we're going to 480 by year end, if you're that guy, right, that gal out there, and you're like, we're going to fucking 480, I always like to structure it where I don't mind buying like the cheapies for like let's say December 31st or December 8th. But I like to stack them like December 29th and then mid-January and let them ramp as we head up there. And what I don't want to ever do is like buy a 480 call. And I would never hold a December 8th 480C. I would be selling those way early. As long as they're catching that premium, I'd just be trying to gather the premium and then jump out because I don't want them to be in the money on the 8th or the 30th and have them be worth 20 cents, right? Dealers will try to murder those things. So a little bit more time on that kind of a trade has been, in my experience, a better trade. As a matter of fact, if we start to roll, you don't actually get hit as hard. You can back out of them and stuff like that. But I do like those trades. Yeah, cheap long-term put hedges for the keepers and raise cash for end of quarter tax noise. Yeah, give me a second here. I might take a trade. Hold on.
Surely expecting the results from the Fed reverse repo facility.
I got a trade set up. Haven't bought anything yet, but I'm looking at 457 C's for today. They're 17.18 cents right now. Yeah, I didn't buy them yet, but I got them set up to buy 457C. They were 16 cents a moment ago, but then they went to 17.18. And let this report come out. Nino, haven't checked Rivian, brother. How's it going on Rivian this morning, man? Nino, give us an update, brother. Good, bad, tell us. What's up? Fire, right on. Drop some knowledge in the chat, dude. Talk to us.
Counterparties take.
What do we need to know, man?
$6.498 billion at the Fed reverse repo.
Do you want to stay up to date with the latest and be on the bleeding edge of news for non-farm payrolls? Then sign up today and get our special offer of Financial Juice Pro for a year's worth of our service for the price of 1 month.
Apple's planning a new iPad Air, iPad Pro, MacBook Air model. Raise them for spring release. That's awesome. As a matter of fact, I'm buying my youngest daughter an iPad for Christmas, and I have not bought it yet. So hopefully that will dump the prices of older iPads that I can. So like the iPad that I was going to buy her, hopefully that price will now come down. That's a good news for me. Meta tests new AI feature across their apps and bid to boost appeal. What else we got in here? Not too much. Nino's saying, no news, just heavy volume came in this morning, maybe short covering to know. They started the usual open selling and boom buying started, ran it up over 10%, cooling off a little bit right now. Yeah, it's that January effect, right? Still sitting here, not doing anything. Dude, give me like I really want to see I'll be honest with you. I really want to see like bloodbath and like V-shaped. That's what I want to see, if possible. Just like blood this bad boy down. If you blood this, I'll put the bear music on. How about that? If you can blood this down for me, if you're a seller and you can blood this bad boy down for a minute, I will fucking put the bear music on. Hey, thanks, Troy Baker. I appreciate that, brother. Troy Baker's out there gifting subs to the community. Thank you, man. I appreciate it. Trader Podcast pinged his scanner in the Discord a couple days ago in Thinkorswim. Pinged Rivian calls yesterday for $10.50 weeklies, and it had pinged Hood at 10 CS the day before. It's there for anyone to use in the Discord. Thanks, Trader Podcast, for giving that shout out, man. Appreciate it, brother. Are you guys wrapping up calls or puts here or no? You guys still short here? You guys still trying to get that last little bit? Some kid is running the Uncle Car right now, begging him to short. I bet they are. I bet somebody is out there going, short the fucking shit out of this right now. Sell this to the... All right. So I shouldn't be doing this. I just bought some calls. I should not be doing this. Probably going to get reversed, and I'm going to lose some money here, I think. So I did buy some calls, so we'll see what happens here. We'll see if we get a reversal here. I don't want to say that in public to anybody. I was talking to David AMS this morning about do you tell everybody your positions publicly? And it's like, dude, David, sometimes I feel like fucking the world goes against me only when I tell them my public trades. I'm like, he's like, do you think that they trade against you? I'm like, definitely. I'm like, if I'm taking a trade and thousands of people take the same trade, dealers are going to go against me, right? Automatically. Well, not automatically. They can chase too. But yeah, I agree with you, David. There are times where I'm like, I don't want to fucking tell anybody anything. Let's see what's going on here. Are we going to get a cross up here? Let's find out. Ooh, yeah, baby. It's right now is like I'm watching right now and I'm like it's we're gonna get some volatility in a moment, one way or the other, up or down. No, thanks, Shindone. Yeah, this is a very risky trade that I'm in. Here, let's take a look back here and see if this is I think we can get any insight in here. Let's see if there's any insight right there. It's right in here. I want to get above this zone right here. I want to get above that right there. All in, I know. So I was having a conversation with someone this morning who said Momo. Who said that? So like Momo, I was having a conversation with a buddy this morning, and they were like, Cap lost all this money in this trade, and I'm like, I fucking lose. Like I lost like $6,000 and $2,000 last week on a fucking trade, and he's like, well, they think that one trade is the worst. I'm like, yeah, but they're never there for the other 10. Like they never follow the other 10 trades. They only follow the loser. And a lot of people, what they do is they double down, like double down, double down, double down, double down, or you find out what their counts are, and they're like, what are you trading with? $1,000. And it's like trading that 1,000 to 2,000, trading that 2,000 to 4,000. When it blows up, they're like, oh, fuck. Let's see if that's the kiss down there. Remember, stops below here. Manage your trade here below this 1 minute trigger. Keep that up right there. I gotta watch that. I want to see this 1 minute trigger hold right now. I want to know that buyers are here. I'll find out quickly if they're not, right? So you see buyers step in right here, right? You got demand right here. Whoop. You want to see that demand right back up here, right? You want to see the demand right here. That's good. So check mark, and question mark still. So we're going to watch this and see if their buyers are still here or if it's just a fake out squeeze. So keep our eyes right here and see what's going on. Find out if these are real buyers right here or not. Remember that pivot down below. Keep your eyes on this pivot point down here. Watch my cursor down here. This is a point of resistance now, so we're going to watch that closely. We don't want to see like something like this, right? You get the buyers come in, come up here, and they sell us right down to the depths of hell. So we want to be aware of that, right? Want to be aware of these sellers up here. They're going to be sitting up here waiting to rain hell down on us, so be careful. Yeah, they're up there. They want to sell us down. There's a trap here for bulls, 100%. There's a seller out there at home or in his desk right now in an office going, I bet you Miro's out there right now like, I'm going to fucking rain hell down on these fucking bulls. They've been wrong so many fucking times that the one time they're right, I'm going to give it to them. They're going to be right. Like this week, next week, there's going to be a day. There's going to be a reckoning. And whenever that reckoning is, if they're on FinTwit taking a victory lap, let them have it. They deserve it. They deserve the victory lap. A little bit of blood here. You see this panic right here? Trying to get your stops right now. Yeah, he does. Bob wants hell, dude. Basement Bob wants that fucking... He wants that vengeance trade, man. Woof. It's there. I know it's there. And whenever they get it, dude, just get out of the way and like upvote them and praise them. Be like, you got it. You nailed it. They deserve it. Give them the respect and the props. Yeah, he does. They're Bob, dude. I know what Bob wants to just come into the market one morning and just see blood rain down, right? Everybody's salty. Like I was talking to another buddy last night on Twitter, and he was like, "Oh, great, we're gonna slam up on 4,600 and then go right back down to 45 or 45.40." And in chat last night, and I was like, he was like, "Sorry, I'm so salty." I'm like, dude, everybody is salty about that. Everybody has that same thesis right now. They just want it to go up or down. They don't care if we break and blast down. They don't care if we go to the moon. They just want to break out of this this range boundness that we've been in. Oh, Trade Podcast saying coin is dying right now. Dave Spaventer, what's up, brother? Thanks for joining us, man. Appreciate it, brother. Ernie's saying, Cap, I have a theory about Wednesday 10:40 turnaround. It has happened a lot. Yep.
OPEC Plus agreements.
Ooh, look at that.
Voluntary cuts.
Ooh. 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 Squeezing. Whoa.
Protect your trades from macro headline.
Watch that pivot line up there. Remember what I said about that pivot line up there?
$99 a year for our real-time service.
Come on, baby. You remember this previous high right up here too, right? You guys know the rules up here, right? What are you looking for? If you're a bull, what are you looking for? You're looking for this to get broken up here, right? You want to see price get up here, right? Move that over the side. You want to see price. If you're a bull, you want to see price just top tick right there. If you're bullish here, that's what you want to see. Just slam it in right now. There could also be this movement here. We just broke this one finally. Could see a bounce here and then the move up higher. So just be patient here. Raise your stops as we head up here. Just keep raising your stops. You can always re-enter again on 0 dates if we do have reversal bounce. Be tactful here if you're a bull. You don't want to get rained down like this action over here, right? You don't want to be like, yeah, I'm making all this money, Cap, and then bam, you're down. So don't hesitate to realize some profit, come back in, take the next trade. There's like a trade. There's a bunch of trades here. There's like a trade here, right? Then you have this. You have another trade right there. You have this. You have another trade up there, so you can be tactful here if you want. Trader, who is it? The coin is the one ticker that I have a revenge trade vendetta against. That I do too. I have. You know who else gets pissed off? Not just coin. There's a couple. There's this company from Israel that does order flow, but because they do order flow for crypto and the regular stock market, they get hammered down to the depths of hell. But they make money. The more volatile crypto or even the market is, the more profitable these companies are. But nobody cares. They're like the market's going down. Send coin down to the shithole, and you're like, wait a minute, coin or like any of those type of companies. They shit on them. Like SQ is another good one. They make all their money on processing fees, right? The more transactions, the better it is. The more volatility in transactions, the more money they're making. Oh yeah, look at that squeeze right there, baby. Look at that squeeze. If you want to take money here and come back for another dip on it, you're more than welcome to. You can catch some bad boy like that right there. Maybe it just squeezes up, so you put you just raise your stops, 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 raise your stops. If it reverses, you get chopped out of there for that next move to the upside. Remember, you got this box up here. You got the hourly trigger. Hourly trigger is so far bearish, but if it starts to improve, we'll begin to get bullish again. You guys making money? Hell yeah, David. Heck yeah, David. Good to have you here. Definitely, man. You guys making money on that trade right now? Trading 23 right now. It was trading 16 just a minute ago. Like, how many of you out there are just like, how many bears out there are just waiting for next week? There's got to be a fuck ton of bears that are just like, I'm just going to get off social media and fucking close. I'm going to go chain myself in the basement. I'm going to place my trades. I'm going to put on the hand. I'm going to climb down the bunker. Right? I'm going to hook myself up to the, like, chain myself to the old wall in the musty bunker. And I'm not going to check. I'm going to turn off the internet and turn off my phone. I'm going to come back next week. Not bad, right, Sammy? Sammy just banked $600 off that move. Woo! Congratulations. Yeah. Super. I bet there are guys out there that are just like locked in the basement right now. Like, I took a hammer and smashed the my ham radio to pieces. I left a note for my wife and told her that I'd be back in a week. Yeah, there might be another way for a bull to grab that right there. Let's see if this is another sexy trade in there. Come back here and test this cross. See if we can grab some of this here. Put some back into it. HYG climbing right now. HYG has gaps up and down. Dixie still climbing right now. Not necessarily bearish here on Dixie, or bearish on cash market because of Dixie where it's at. NDX looking kind of sketchy here. A little bit of bleeding in NDX. USO climbing right now. If you're an oil trader, keep your eyes on USO. Apple just parked right now. VIX is actually looking kind of bullish. So Dixie and VIX is saying be careful there if you're a bull. What else can I see? Check out yields. Be careful here. Yields are getting bullish here. Oil is getting bullish here. VIX is getting bullish-ish. Dixie is mooning right now. I think was it Trader Podcast that mentioned some of those tickers earlier, so I'm looking at them right now. I'm watching that too, Trader Podcast. There goes that back check on the 1 minute trigger. We'll find out right now where we're going. I'm going to read some stuff to you guys while we're waiting here. I'm going to read a bunch of stuff to you guys in the background. Give me one quick second here. Let's see if I can see anything. Nothing there. What do we got on CNBC? Economy to face slowdown in early 2024. So stay in defensive stocks. Wells Fargo's CIO says. An option trade that could double in value if the tech sector runs out of steam. Reading through CNBC right now. Nothing glaring here. Let me check the gamma. We already know about gamma that the floor is glass. We've known about that. We've known about that developing over the week. We know that we should expect weakness next week. Let's check. Let's check seasonality really quick. Let me check VIX and SPX seasonality. Yeah, it's saying we could go down some more today. Squeeze up one more time and then a roll into the week or into tomorrow. Should start a roll. No, I'm sorry, I'm getting this wrong. The 235th trading day. 235th trading day, we should begin to experience the roll. Yeah, I think that's Friday, dude. Friday was when we should experience the roll. Okay, so seasonality. This is NASDAQ and SPY saying expect more bullishness into the 235th. That right? Yeah, about 235th trading day. So we're getting close. We're getting close to that bearish scenario that we're talking about. What do we got for economic news? We got claims coming out tomorrow. We had ADP this morning. We got consumer credit at 3 tomorrow. We got claims at 8:30 in the morning. Friday, we've got the employment rate and the employment report. That's going to be a big one. I'm interested in the unemployment rate without 100% guaranteed. I'm interested in that one. Consumer sentiments at 10 a.m. tomorrow. Then, of course, you got the big boys next week. We got OG Fed Chair Powell at 2:30 p.m. on Wednesday. We got nothing scheduled for Monday. Tuesday, we've got CPI. So we got a bunch of vol coming into the market Got a bunch of vol coming into the market starting tomorrow. We've got claims, right? So claims on Thursday. Unemployment rate's going to be a big one. Is the Fed? I want you guys to know the unemployment rate's going to be very important. You saw Yellen out there yesterday just doing garbage coming out of her mouth. That's going to be a big one, by the way. Is the Fed doing their job or not? So we got some vol. We got vol starting to pick up though into starting to ramp here into the next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sessions. We just have some vol coming up. Some hot sauce. What else do we got here? What can I see? Close all that up. And let me check one more thing. see what they're saying here. Let me read some of this to you guys. Hold on here. 80 report confirmed yesterday's jolts that the job market is cooling. I'm going to read this to you guys, right? I'm going to read this to you right now. The ADP report confirmed yesterday's jolts that the job market is cooling, but overall rate features show only reaction ahead of tomorrow's initial claims and the payroll print on Friday. So let's talk about that. Good news is good news, and bad news is good news, and good news is bad news. If you guys really want, we can do it. I don't know if I can do it right now. I don't have the time, but we do go over it here often. If the Fed is on the right track, even if they don't admit it to you, they're never going to want to admit it to you. They want less jobs being offered, and they want higher unemployment between now and what looks like December of next year. And so anyways, they're looking for that, even though they don't tell you, and that would say that they're doing the right thing as of right now, right? It would confirm that they're doing the right thing. They're on the right track, and to expect cuts into 2024. So if you're me personally, I want to see less jobs, and I want to see more unemployment. No one likes to pick that up publicly, because it can kill your. You don't ever want to be on public saying, "Hey, I want higher unemployment, and I want less jobs, and I want to crush the economy so we can do a reset," because they'd lose their job, right? On the Hill, Republicans in the Senate are expected to vote against the funding bill for Ukraine and Israel today because it doesn't include changes to southern border security. In a morning note, Goldman is pointing out again that the smart money has started to sell outperformers that drove the market higher. We already know that. We knew that last week, right? We made posts about rotate out of these fucking companies and rotate into small caps. And so we already know that. So Goldman's saying they're pointing out that smart money has started to sell outperformers that drove the market higher, and that hedge funds have sold the U.S. Mag 7 in 15 of the past 17 sessions. What else we got here? Gamma right now. The Gamma flip is 45.40. The call wall is 4,600. Zero date range. You guys ready out there, zero date traders like me? The zero date range expectation for today is 4,540 to 4,575. The straddle is $19 on that. That was this morning. From a Gamma standpoint, there is really nothing to see except an ever-increasing call wall at 4,600, reaching epic proportions. If you guys want to see that call wall, I'll show it to you here in just a moment. All else equal, this strike will likely be the black hole that pulls the market closer until OPEX due to its gravitational force. 4,600 will act as a magnet. December 15th, a big chunk of Gamma will expire, which would open the door for a Santa Claus rally, but we shall see. So there's an expiration on December 15th of 12:15, a giant Gamma bar on that date. So 12:15. So once we get into that expiry, if you're a bull, listen to me closely here. You're a bull, right? We talked about this already ad nauseum. If you're a bull, I've had bulls ask me, "Hey, when can we have a Santa rally?" And I said, you just sit on your hands until the 15th, and you'll have your opportunity. Price. A lot of bulls think things like, I want to show you guys something here. So I'll often see bulls on Twitter, and they'll say, "Hey, when's the next Santa rally, Cap?" And I'll be like, "Yeah, it's on the 15th of December, right?" And they think that if price is right here and this is the 15th, right, that if price was here on, let's say, the 10th, all that means is that we should go up from there, right? What they don't take into consideration is the possibility of heading down into that date, and then your Santa rally starts at a lower price. So be patient if you're a bull. if you're looking for that kick-ass end of the year trade, we are freed up to make that trade on the 15th of December. You should already know that at this point. And I'm going to show you that. Let me see if I can show you guys that 460 magnet really quick. So hang tight here. Net gamma. We'll do net gamma this time on SPX. And dude, look at this. Look at this shit. This is a pin in the market, so we can't crash, believe it or not. So I'm going to show it to you, and it just keeps getting fucking bigger and bigger. Look at this thing. Look at this bad boy right there. Look at that thing. It's just monster. So the posit would be, this is the floor down here, right? If we have price, pretend this is like a vertical chart, I guess, right? You got price. Price is like slam down here, right? Slam down here. Slam down here, but there's a magnet just dragging it up into that 460 into end of the quarter. So you could see something like that, and then a ricochet down on the on this down here. That's that 45.90. Maybe on the 31st we come down here, and we actually tag the JPM collar by the 31st. So you ready? Run to 460 towards end of quarter, and then maybe a bounce back down into the 31st. And put that down there. Bob is just stapling stuff that doesn't even need to be stapled right now. Too funny. God, I wish I knew some details of the Goldman Sachs Apple Card splitting up news. If we knew where the debt was going, it'd be so nice. You know, Bork, Winky always talked about that too. That always fascinated him as well. Yeah. Agreed, Bork. Agreed. In the future, after GS no longer backs the Apple Card, I doubt Apple will stop offering the card. Yeah. Winky brought that up a few times. Velocity Suite will be out today. You guys are, I think today. So we have a big meeting coming up today at some point. I got to get in the Discord. And we're going to have a big meeting with everybody that's involved, and we're going to try to launch today. So I want you all to know right away, Blisswitz, all you guys, I want you guys to know that I appreciate you guys hanging out and until we start launching. So you're going to get gamma charts on our website very soon here. Very soon. You're going to get access to a whole bunch. We're rolling out over the next few weeks, month, two. We're rolling out a bunch of crap. So I got something cool that's in development right now. That's that stock picker stuff. So like the stock picker stuff, when we roll that out, it'll spit out for you stocks to short and long, and or I guess go long puts or long calls or sell or buy the underlying whatever. But we've got some really cool shit coming out over time. It's going to be a fucking blast, some of this stuff. Dude, Bliss, man. I am a big-time fan of Bob Kendall, brother. David AMS, another student of Bob Kendall's. That guy is a fucking gangster. He is a fucking gangster, man. What I would do to just like be able to download his experience, his wisdom is hard to replace. Hard to replace. All the stuff that he gives out, one day it'll be gone. You won't be able to get that information. So I keep him in very high stature in my life. I love Bob Kendall, man. Oh, you're shaving profits on both sides? All right, so what I'm going to do here, I got to let you guys know. I'm going to leave this stream up, okay? I'll be here in the office. I got to make some phone calls really quick. I'm going to leave the stream up with you right now. Okay. You guys that have been here forever, you guys help out people that are new to the stream on, are we bullish, bearish, we going up or going down, cut your losses, all that kind of stuff. I got to get this show on the road. I can't wait anymore. So I got to remove myself from the stream. I'll leave it up from now until 4 p.m. If anything major happens, doom and gloom or boom or bust or anything, I'll come back on the stream with you. Okay, so I'll be back with you guys around the close at 4 p.m. Good luck to you today. Oh, wait a minute. So FX Retracer, did Bob Kendall stop doing the nightly report? Did he stop doing the nightly report? I usually try to stop in and watch the show and comment and be like, hey man, thanks for putting that out. You know who I did stop in and watch last night was I watched Figuring Out Money last night, his show last night. And I said, hey man, great job or whatever. I haven't stopped in and seen Bob in months. I should probably stop in. I didn't know that he stopped doing nightly videos. Is that the case? Did he stop doing nightly videos, Bob Kendall? If he did, that would suck. That was like, Bob Kendall was like, put that, like my I have to watch this at nighttime he was always in that mix. Oh, he did stop streaming. FX Retracer, did Bob Kendall stop streaming? I'm gonna reach out. I'll reach out to him and ask him if he's okay. I talked to him I still talk to him on Discord every great once in a while. I checked in with him recently to make sure it was him actually and not a scam bot. So I'll try to send him a DM and see if he's okay. He took a break. Oh shit! I didn't know that. I didn't know that Bob Kendall took a break. Fuck. I'll send him some well wishes. I'll check on him. I have high regard for him. I didn't know that. We should start making nightly videos. We've talked about starting that nightly video program. I didn't know that he stopped making nightly videos. That's a loss to the retail community. Those nightly videos. Most certainly. Wouldn't want to step on his toes though either. I shouldn't do that either, I guess. So, damn, dude, Bob, I didn't know that. That fucking sucks, man. That's a fucking loss, hands down. He has a sick family member. That really, really sucks. And they just built a house, right? Didn't they? They just finished a house. I'm not gonna say anything else on that, but they just had a bunch of stuff, good stuff, come to fruition for themselves. Yeah. I think he would be there for them too. I mean, how many years do you think that guy's? How many years do you think Bob Kendall just fucking? Let me ask you guys. Any guys that know Bob Kendall? How many years do you think he spent grinding? Had to be like he was on Wall Street for fucking years. I bet that guy ate and fucking slept work for like 30 years. Had to. Yeah. Sam Trader Podcast. Vol Signals, all those guys. We're gonna get with all you guys and see what we can do for nighttime. So you can start making nighttime videos. Nighttime, like his nighttime videos were fucking phenomenal. His market reviews, no matter what you liked, if you liked crypto, you liked oil, you liked NASDAQ, IWM, didn't matter. Guy was fucking on point in my view. Hey, do you know what my best part? I gotta do a little love on Bob Kendall for a minute. You know what I really like about Bob Kendall? That fucking market could be bloodbathing, and he would calm down his entire audience. He'd be like, hold on, just wait a minute. Just hold on here. You know? And he'd be like, in like the news and social media would be like, we're going to crash. Like, we'd be like down trading 3,500, and Kendall would be like, then they'd be in the stream. Like, people would be like, it was hilarious because the sellers would be in the stream just harping against them. They'd be like, fuck you, Bob, you're wrong. You suck. I hate you. and then all the real people that knew Bob would be in the stream, and they'd be watching Bob. Bob would come out the stream and be like, just patience here, just patience. And sure enough, like 1 day later, the market would fucking reverse all that shit and just start mooning. And of course, Bob was right. I love that shit about Bob. Oh yeah, dude, it was fucking phenomenal. It was epic to watch. Whatever would happen to you, I'd be there and I'd watch this fucking show and be like, these fucking guys are about to get fucking hammered. And fucking 1 day later, fucking Bob would be right. Swing right back up like nothing ever happened. It was awesome. It was awesome. It was fucking phenomenal. Do you guys all remember that shit, or is it just me? Is that my experience only? Maybe, I don't know. Yeah. If you guys know, he has a Twitter. Hey, buddy, what's going on? Handsome, what's going on? If you guys have access, he has a Twitter handle. Go out there and say hi to him on Twitter. Go out there and tell Bob that you support him. If you don't know who Bob Kendall is, too, you should find him out there. He's one of those guys. He's like a wealth of information that one day we won't have access to as retail traders. Well, those old people out there, man, I'll tell you what, you latch on to them. Those old guys that are out there, right? Latch on to those fucking guys. Girls, men, women, doesn't matter if they're men or women. Latch on to them. You know, like when you're young and shit, you might hate your dad or something. And then you get older and you go back to your dad and say, I apologize. You were looking out for my best interests. If you have second and third opportunities for that, once you figure that shit out, and you go back and you find those guys and you're like, hey man, can you be my dad for a little while? And I'll listen. I'm ready to listen. I'm older. I'm ready to listen to you. All right, I love you, Dan. All right, so I will be back with you guys at 4 p.m. You see this nice fat squeeze happening right now. This is gorgeous form right here, by the way. You watch that gorgeous form. Come back down, check the 1 minute trigger, right? Just cut and take your stops right there, right? And then boom, there's the real move upside, trying to take this out. If you're a bull, you're watching for a high just right there, just a high tick. If we fail that high tick, not good for the bulls. It could lead to some consolidation. If you get the high tick up here, still expecting a pullback, but very bullish end result likely to follow. So let's watch that right there. 457 C's. Trading 27 cents right now. Burr, baby, burr. Those are now almost a 100% trade. They were trading 16 cents at the low, bouncing around the 17, 18 cents. Now, trading 26, 27 cents. So there you go. 100% trade on live stream. Mwah. Love all of you. I fucking love my life. I'll be back. Another note here. I'm going to have the news squawker on in the background, but I'm also going to try CNBC again this morning and see if it or this afternoon and see if it doesn't make all that weird noise that it was making the other day. I think that had to do with my my fiber cable breaking. I was losing connection. That's why we're hearing all that crazy noise. So we'll check it again and see if we can get CNBC on again for you guys. Also note that we have we're trying to confirm a reversal on a bear plane that is forming on SPY right now. Did I say bear plane? I meant bull plane. So we're looking for a confirmation for a bull plane to the upside right now. And remember that's wall above on the hourly trigger. Also note that if we confirm the bull plane and we're able to get above the hourly trigger and backtest the hourly trigger and that 1 in 5 minute trigger bull plane, that would be a bullish cluster, 4 trigger cluster to the upside.
Well protected.
Welcome to Power Lunch alongside Kelly Evans. I am John Fort. Coming up, AMD pushing its chips to the middle of the table in the AI race, holding a big event this afternoon on how it's going to compete with NVIDIA. We will get a live report from that event.
Plus, Norway and Denmark joining Sweden's fight with Tesla. Elon Musk has called the Swedish labor strike insane, but it could have far-reaching consequences for the company. We'll explain. First, let's get a check on markets, though. As the Dow Jones Industrial Average clinging on to a 50-point gain, the S&P's back in positive territory. The Nasdaq's down 5. All of them have softened since early morning levels.
Running to stand still, and 2 Dow components with business updates today.
Hey, it was happening to you as well, stretching walls. So it wasn't just me. It wasn't my cable. It was happening everywhere with CNBC, that noise. Thanks for giving the update, brother. Appreciate it. If you have questions on where to enter this here, ask the chat, because a lot of our chat is used to this formation right here. What you're looking for right here is you're looking for this cross. It's a minefield, but basically, right, you're looking for this in the future, right? And you're also, this is normal right here, right? This bloodbath, this is a liquidation break to find out if the buyers are still there and to get your stops. But if this is successful right here, if we hold this and you see a green bar come up, you should see a reversal, and you should see a smash right here. And then you'll see a pullback usually. Sometimes we'll break above it, but you should see a smash, so we come back down over here. And then you would end up seeing an explosive move to the upside right up there. And then we'd come back down and check it. So let me scale this out for you right here. If you're bullish, what you're looking for here. Give me one quick second. You're looking for confirmation. There. There's a lot of volatility here, right? You see that volatility, right? And I want to show you that's where the low is right there, right? Grind up, try to get up there. So a lot of volatility in here to do a pretty big squeeze. And that squeeze can go, now I don't know that we go up this high up here, but these are the steps to go all the way back up and retest that previous high. So we'll leave that one right there for now. Just slide that over so you don't, not in your way. You want to see what the reaction right here is going to be key. Like this is going to be key. Then you got like sell pressure here from that hourly trigger. These bears or sellers do not want to allow you to get above this, because we will have a monster fucking squeeze if we get above this volatility. All right, I have to go. I love all of you guys out there.
today with its Gemini announcement, TPU 5, the new version of it that's going to train its newest multimodal model. So I actually think that we are seeing a new era for the semiconductor space, and there will be a lot of collaboration between the big chip makers, Intel and AMD and NVIDIA and all these hyperscalers and OEMs. Having said that, though, they're vertically integrating, and we've seen it be successful at Apple in their business, and we're going to see it be successful at AWS and Microsoft as well.
Christina, I just want to go back to kind of what's been going on regulatory-wise, where Gina Raimondo reportedly has been very tough, maybe without quite naming them on NVIDIA or companies who are kind of really getting around any restrictions the U.S. is trying to impose on sending these chips to China. How do we expect NVIDIA, AMD to continue to, is it an opportunity for AMD to maybe be friendlier? Do they both need to just be super clever here to keep as big a market share as possible? Just how much is that a factor as we look at some of their forward sales projections?
It's more of a factor for NVIDIA, given that they get roughly 20 to 25% of their data center revenue from China. That's why NVIDIA was very quick to create a workaround chip for China, and that's where that threat came from, Gina Raimondo. However, having said that, NVIDIA knows that they're not going to get that chip blocked just right away. The government has to follow a protocol. Jensen Huang took to the stage in Singapore early this morning, saying that they are working closely with the U.S. government. So going forward, I can only assume there's going to be more restrictions for a lot of these chips. So companies need to be cautious and maybe start pivoting their attention elsewhere. So AMD, we're not expecting any comments specifically about China on stage. That's just because their market is smaller than NVIDIA's. However, NVIDIA did say that there would be a significant impact in their Q4 revenue. So that's something to keep of note for NVIDIA. But Daniel brought up a really interesting point, too, just about the market share. I think the big conversation here today is the fact that the market is still really big. NVIDIA has a stronghold right now. AMD is slowly coming in. There's still room for both players. So for investors, they're looking like, which stock should I buy? There's still an opportunity, especially because AMD would play more in the inferencing world of the large language model. But in the future, that's where I get a little concerned when you have all of this competition from the hyperscalers coming in.
Oh, yeah, the hyperscalers are going to play a really significant role. They're going to be playing the part of building the software stacks top to bottom. But you can see, I mean, Microsoft is here today. Oracle was here today as a hyperscaler talking about how they're going to be deploying the MI300.
They're also working on their own stuff.
They are working on their own stuff, but exactly for the reason you and I talked about. It's because the market is so big. They're going to address everything from power consumption requirements to cost requirements. People need different silicon for different workloads, and that's a smart company is going to address all those different needs.
All right. We thank you both very much. Daniel Newman, Christina Partsenevelis on a big afternoon, wouldn't you say, John, for AMD?
Yes, indeed, and it's going to continue to get bigger. Christina's coming back with AMD CEO Lisa Su on Overtime.
Very good, around 4:30 p.m. Eastern. In Washington today, some of the biggest CEOs in banking are testifying in front of the Senate, trying to push back on new rules they say would harm the economy. Leslie Picker has the latest from Washington. Leslie?
Hey, Kelly, yeah, the bulk of today's hearing encompassed Basel III Endgame. That's a proposal that would hike capital requirements for the nation's largest banks. While all 8 CEOs raised their hands when asked if they had the capital to comply with the new rules, many used their prepared testimonies as a chance to highlight what they see are the pitfalls. And Republican lawmakers prodded the issue further by asking the executives how Basel might impact Main Street. Here's Goldman Sachs' CEO, David Solomon.
A wholesale increase of 25% capital on the largest banks with lots of individual provisions that affect different activities, I think is ultimately punitive to economic growth and doesn't strike the right cost-benefit analysis. We, of course, need to make the system secure. The system is in good shape. We've seen that under stress. That doesn't mean there aren't things that can be done at the margin. But this is a wholesale change that leads to problems.
Also making headlines from the hearings, J.P. Morgan CEO Jamie Dimon admonishing crypto once again in this exchange with Senator Elizabeth Warren.
Mr. Dimon, you've been CEO of J.P. Morgan for almost 2 decades. Can you explain why crypto is such an attractive financial tool for terrorists, drug traffickers, and rogue nations?
I've always been deeply opposed to crypto, Bitcoin, et cetera. You pointed out the only true use case for it is criminals, drug traffickers, anti-money laundering, tax avoidance, and that is a use case because it is somewhat anonymous, not fully, and because you can move money instantaneously, and because it doesn't go through, as you mentioned, all these systems have built up over many years, know your customers, sanctions, OFAC. they can bypass all of that. If I was the government, I'd close it down.
Close it down. Overall, though, this was a fairly civil hearing. No major fireworks. Kel?
Remind me, Leslie, JP Morgan, I mean, would we say they're in the crypto business at this point? I know that we're at a moment where we're going to see many more Bitcoin ETFs and such, but his comments are quite straight. We always know how he feels strongly about it. I just wasn't sure if it's kind of a no-go zone for the whole firm or not.
No, I mean, tangentially, he's said in the past that he supports blockchain in particular, but he's also called Bitcoin a pet rock or has no value other than essentially being a pet rock. So today's comments saying if he were the government, he would shut it down, kind of echo previous, less favorable, shall we say, sentiment that Jamie Dimon in particular has had with crypto. So no, not a major at any kind of business for them whatsoever.
Yeah, no, he's been pretty clear. I think Warren asked the wrong person maybe about what he thinks about crypto. There's his answer. Ban it. Leslie, thank you very much, our Leslie Picker. Speaking of crypto, the price of Bitcoin above $40,000, almost hit 45 today. Many are arguing the rally is different this time. Jamie Dimon, cover your ears. We'll discuss. Plus, Tesla CEO Elon Musk scuffling in Scandinavia. Danish dock workers joining a sympathy strike with Swedish mechanics against the EV maker. We have that story when Power Lunch returns. Welcome back to Power Lunch. The Dow and the S&P are trying to move higher today. The S&P is down about 3 points right now. They're all lower for the week, though, and on pace to snap a 5-week winning streak. Our next guest sees a soft landing ahead, but thinks slowing growth might make earnings hard to live up to, the expectations, that is. Michael Aroney is Chief Investment Strategist at State Street Global with over $3 trillion in assets under management. Michael, this is really the crux of things, because those who think earnings are looking good for next year can kind of shrug off everything else happening and say it's time to embrace it, and then others aren't so sure. So you have some confidence here or no?
Well, Kelly, I think it's interesting. As you said, earlier this year, it was all about beating very low expectations when it came to earnings. So we had this earnings recession, yet markets rallied anyway because results were much better than anticipated. So my concern is the setup for 2024 is that now we're expecting earnings growth for S&P 500 companies of more than 11%. So I do think that the risk of disappointment has grown, even though earnings are likely to be pretty good. I'm not sure they're going to live up to those higher expectations, and how the market reacts to that does concern me.
Michael, is 24 finally going to be the year for bonds?
I'm not so sure. I do think that bonds are more attractive, John. So when we look at kind of the yield that you're receiving for the interest rate risk that you're taking, that duration that you're taking, it's more in balance than it has been since 2009. So it is a much more attractive picture for bonds, but we still see most investors barbell. So very conservative on the short end of the curve with treasury bills and short maturities, while balancing that a little bit with things like investment grade corporate bonds, for example, where I'm taking on a little bit more credit risk, a little bit more interest rate risk, but I'm not taking on too much. And yet those yields are commensurate or similar to what's on the short side of the fixed income portfolio. So that seems to be the right kind of balance, if you will, for fixed income allocations as we head to 2024.
How much danger is there, though, for the retail investor in watching the price of bonds themselves too closely and not thinking long-term about the yields? Because so many retail investors have tilted much more toward stocks, toward equities over the past couple of decades and are way out of that traditional balance.
It's true, but they've been rewarded, at least over the long term, for taking on that additional equity risk. And I do think that the setup is for that to continue over the longer term. But John, you're right. In terms of the opportunity for bonds, it's certainly more compelling now than it was over the last decade or so in terms of income and total return. So we are seeing fixed income allocations creep up. I think one of the more interesting things is that when income was scarce, it forced investors to take a lot of risk in fixed income that they may or may not have been comfortable with. Now, with income more plentiful, the allocations to fixed income continue to remain challenging. Most folks have gotten that interest rate call wrong this year as rates continue to back up. That's why we think stable income is kind of the way to go, and that balance, that barbell between kind of conservative fixed income on the short end and, to your point, adding some maturities, adding some fixed income in terms of the intermediate part of the curve, we think makes some sense.
Still amazing to look at 411 there on the 10-year and how far it's fallen in such a very quick period of time. So you're interested in hedging against a lot of these risks with gold. So the outperformance of gold lately, is that partly what's driving your interest, or does that kind of make logical sense to you and you think it keeps going?
I think what's been fascinating about gold this year, Kelly, is that interest rates have climbed. Certainly they're off of their highs since the end of October, but interest rates are up kind of this year. The dollar has strengthened somewhat unexpectedly this year, up until recently. These are two traditional headwinds for gold, yet the spot price of gold is up in the teens. So it's overcome those headwinds. And now all of a sudden, yields are falling, as you point out, on 10-year treasury yields. The dollar is likely to weaken, particularly as the Fed ends its tightening cycle. That's starting to happen. And now you all of a sudden have a much more attractive backdrop for gold at a time when the outcomes across a wide range of things are wider than normal. Geopolitical risks, the economy, the Fed, inflation, earnings like we talked about up front. So we think hedging a lot of these risks with a small gold allocation makes sense. In 2022, the spot price of gold was flat while stocks and bonds were down. This year, gold's remained competitive with stocks, even though they're up considerably. We think the backdrop remains attractive in 2024.
All right. Michael Aroney, thank you. Now, coming up, it's been a mixed bag for the IPO market. Birkenstock tripping in its debut. Instacart initially rolling in its first day, then losing those gains soon after. ARM out wrestling expectations. So what's the formula for a successful IPO look in the year ahead? We are going to discuss next in Tech Check.
NBC.
Welcome back to Power Lunch. Bond yields are just as volatile as stocks today, which is to say not much. The ADP report, the latest sign of a cooling jobs market. We get the government jobs data on Friday. Let's get to Rick Santelli now in Chicago for more. Rick.
Yes, John. If you look at an ADP jobs chart starting in July of 21, and I picked that month because that was the high water mark, 938,000 jobs, you can see we have definitely seen a drop in job creation. And I fully suspect we'll see the same thing from the Bureau of Labor Statistics on the big November jobs report on Friday that, as you referenced, will include government hiring. Let's look at 2s and 10s on one chart, shall we? You know, at 8:15 Eastern, when that data hit, and by the way, 103,000 is the second smallest job creation amount in ADP, going all the way back, yes, all the way back to the second lowest since July 21, and two-year note yields made their lows right on that number. But look at 10-year, how it keeps going lower. And when you expand the charts to a two-day chart, it really jumps out at you how much the curve has been re-inverting. Even right now at a 459 yield on twos, we're basically near unchanged up a basis point, whereas 10s hovering at 412 are down 5 basis points. This dynamic really finally is reflecting the slowing of the U.S. economy. And many have talked about the dollar index. Have you looked at it lately? It's basically near unchanged on the year. And European yields on 2s and 10s, they're lower on the year than they were at the end of last year. Our yields are approaching those settlements, but still a bit higher as the world handicaps how small a growth swap down we're going to see for 2024. Kelly, back to you.
Rick, thank you very much. Bigger move today might be the price of oil. Below $70 for the first time since June. Pippa Stevens has more on this big drop.
Yeah, we're not below 70, and there's just really nothing to like here in this market. We did get the latest inventory report, which showed a draw in U.S. stockpiles, but the market is overlooking that. And of course, there's just not a lot of belief in OPEC and its allies' ability to cut their output with those voluntary cuts. Officials in both Saudi Arabia and Russia came out trying to kind of assure the market that it's going to happen. But as brokerage PVM put it, it's basically just fallen on deaf ears. Saudi Arabia also cut its official selling prices for all grades of its crude starting in January, which once again is pointing to weak demand. And so today is not a good day if you're an energy company to announce an update with oil falling below 70. But of course, Exxon did this morning, and that stock is lower. So a couple of things here. They did increase their buyback to $20 billion next year, up from $17.5 billion per year once the deal with Pioneer closes. But they also raised their capital spending. So this year and next year, it's pretty steady. We have a chart showing that you can see it is still well below the pre-COVID era. But looking forward in 2025, they expect the range to be as high as $27 billion. Now, a lot of that is thanks to an increase in spending for their low carbon solutions business. They've bumped that up from $17 billion to $20 billion. And the street just really does not believe that that's going to be profitable for Exxon. RBC, they said they have to convince investors on the merits of the low carbon spending. JPM said the market is skeptical of returns on low capital investment. So it does seem to be that's hitting the stock here.
Wow. And I mean, you could say, if anything, that Exxon's outperforming crude. You know, it could be, and maybe that's what all of those moves they're taking underline.
That's the other thing, that, you know, energy was the top sector for the last 2 years, and no sector has ever been the best sector for 3 straight years. And so if you did very well in the stock, you are probably going to be taking some profits there. They're still paying a very healthy dividend. They're buying back stock. And also their expectations for both the Pioneer and the Denbury peg Brent at $60. So they still have some wiggle room before they have to meaningfully revise any estimates.
Great point.
Pippa,
Pippa, thanks.
Pippa, thanks. Tomorrow we're going to hear from ExxonMobil CEO Darren Woods. That's 9 a.m. Eastern on Squawk on the Street. Now let's get to Bertha Coombs for a CNBC News update. Bertha.
Hi, John. Senate Republicans blocked efforts by their Democratic counterparts to pass an assault weapons ban. The motion put forward by Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer would have reauthorized the previous ban that first passed in 1994 and expired a decade later. The action came as the United States broke the record this past weekend for the most mass shootings in a single year, according to a tracker run by the Associated Press, USA Today, and Northeastern University. Israel's military confirmed its forces are in the heart of Khan Yunis for the first time. The area is thought to house Hamas leaders, but is also crowded with civilians. Many of them fled there at Israel's urging to avoid bombardment and battles in the north. A life-size chocolate Willy Wonka made a debut today in London's Trafalgar Square. It's in the likeness of actor Timothée Chalamet, who is reprising the role of the candy factory boss in the upcoming Wonka film. It opens in the U.S. on December 15th. The statue's sculptor says it took her and her team more than 5 weeks to complete. Sweet. John, back to you.
A lot of people would like to have a bite, Bertha. Thank you. Ahead on Power Lunch, the price of Bitcoin up 25% in just a month, more than doubled, up 158% in a year. Does this rally have staying power? We will discuss next.
NYMEX diesel January futures settle at $2.57 a gallon. NYMEX gasoline January futures settle at $2.03 a gallon. NYMEX natural gas January futures settle at $2.56, and NYMEX WTI crude January futures settle at $69.38 a barrel. That's down $2.94 or 4.07%.
Swedish mechanics on strike, getting an assist from their neighbors in a labor battle with Tesla. Elon Musk has been staunchly anti-union, but this latest fight could have big implications. Phil LeBeau, why could this situation blow up?
Well, it could blow up, John, because right now you've got just this one group of mechanics in Sweden who are asking Tesla to recognize their right to organize as a union. They're not even getting to the part where demands are part of what they're asking from Tesla. Tesla's not even acknowledging that at this point. And now you have other labor unions in sympathy with their counterparts in Sweden who are saying, you know what, maybe we won't deliver Tesla models to Sweden that are scheduled for transportation there. That's the development today, that there are Norway transport workers who are saying later this month they may stop transporting Tesla models to Sweden. Now look, in the whole grand scheme of things, those are two very small markets. They're important markets in Europe, but they're still very small in terms of volume. But this could blow up into a bigger issue, John, because Tesla has the only non-union final assembly plant. It's in Germany, and there's no sense that it's going to organize soon. But if this continues to mushroom and it gets more and more support from other labor unions, you know how this could go.
How does it not go there in Scandinavia?
Well, look, one way is that Tesla could say to the mechanics in Sweden, okay, we recognize your right to organize. Now, Elon Musk has been clear. He does not believe that labor unions are in the best interest of the company, nor in the best interest of some of the workers. He points out that Tesla has given their workers better pay through stock options, et cetera, and that there's no reason to be a part of a union. So let's say they do recognize the mechanics in Sweden. This could all blow over, and that could be the end of it. The flip side of this is that if they don't recognize that the right of that union to organize, what you see in Norway could happen in other countries, and then it starts to spread from there.
How big of a blow would it be if parts or all of its German workforce unionized?
It depends. You know, ultimately, they would be. Look, they're not going to be uncompetitive. But Elon Musk believes that a unionized workforce is not as competitive and not as helpful to the bottom line as what they currently have in Germany. So if they organize and then they have to negotiate a contract and the costs go up from there, well, then Tesla could argue, look, we are not as competitive within a market that, by the way, guys, is becoming brutally competitive in terms of electric vehicles as the Chinese EVs are starting to flood into that market. And that's really changing the dynamic in terms of electric vehicles.
This might be a ridiculous question, but sometimes I wonder, why would Musk run such a high risk in the first place of putting the Gigafactory in Germany, which has historically had, stronger labor unions, or at least Europe more broadly?
Well, Europe overall. They're the only look, anywhere in Europe, he was going to run into this issue eventually because all auto plants are unionized in Europe. So it's not that he could have avoided this by putting the plant in a different country other than Germany. And look, Germany is the largest auto market in Europe. EVs are growing very quickly there. Yeah, the Gigafactory outside of Berlin has been very successful for Tesla. It was a smart move for Elon Musk and Tesla to put a plant there. Eventually, everybody knew that this is one of those situations that might ultimately develop.
Yeah, and here we are, perhaps at the beginning of it, and perhaps not. Depends on how the Scandinavian things go,
Sure.
I suppose. Phil, for now, thank you very much. Our Phil LeBeau reporting.
You bet.
Meantime, another 52-week high for Bitcoin today, hitting almost 45,000. As with previous rallies, it seems that everyone wants a piece. Bob Pisani joins us with a look at how people are trying to get in on the action. But first, let's begin with Kate Rooney for more on what's driving this rally. Kate?
Hey, Kelly, so it's been a lot of excitement around a Bitcoin ETF or a spot ETF. It would track the actual price of Bitcoin versus the futures price. There has been a lot of hype, a lot of speculation that the SEC is going to prove this. There's 9 or so applications out there from everyone from BlackRock to Fidelity. So the excitement here is around the biggest asset managers in the world getting involved. So it's seen as this stamp of legitimacy and stamp of approval, and then it would also theoretically expand access to cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin in particular. And then there's another dynamic. So that kind of lit the fuse, Kelly, and that's what got some of the price movements above 30,000, for example. But then there's another dynamic here, which is leverage. So especially in these markets in Asia, I'm told you get what amounts to sort of a short squeeze. People had bet against Bitcoin in this case. Then you see these massive liquidations and these massive positions get wiped out. That is most likely what we're seeing in the last couple weeks or so. You saw the price climbing to 40,000 and then just this massive spike to almost 45,000. So that is more likely one of these big, what you would call whales in these markets, liquidating a position versus just retail interest. So you saw about $90 million, for example, of liquidations yesterday alone. That indicates that it's some of the bigger institutional players in these markets versus retail interest, which has still been pretty muted. It's risen, in the last month or so, but it's still far below what we saw in the height of 2021 and even last year, Kelly.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, Kate. Now, Bob, how do you see it?
Well, look, number one, there's no doubt that interest in a Bitcoin ETF is what's driving these right now up. Here's the problem. We have seen this phenomenon before. So, for example, companies going into the S&P 500, their prices often go up in anticipation they're going in. Whenever you have the idea that there might be an expansive new market, people tend to try to front run the price and move it up a little bit. We saw this with ETFs. Cybersecurity ETFs were hot 4 or 5 years ago. They drove up the price of cybersecurity stocks and subsequently underperformed. So I'm wondering whether or not they're sort of now, this is the demand phase of this, and we'll see what happens once the Bitcoin ETF, and I agree with Kate, it's probably inevitable we'll get a Bitcoin ETF. What's happening here that's interesting is if you look at Grayscale, they have funds out there that are essentially closed-end funds that are trading at premiums and discounts to various crypto assets that's been trading at a discount to Bitcoin recently. But what's interesting here is that there's only a very limited amount of Bitcoin in these funds here, in the Bitcoin fund itself, 640,000. They don't change that number. And so people who are piling into that, the price has to change, but it trades at a discount or a premium to Bitcoin. And this is the problem with some of these funds that are out there right now and why you want to have a Bitcoin ETF, because if you have one, then you can adjust how much Bitcoin you actually have in the fund and have it track the price of Bitcoin accurately. And that's if there's any reason to finally figure out a way to get this Bitcoin ETF going, it's to eliminate these problems with discounts and premiums for some of these closed-end type funds that exist out there.
Real quickly, Kate, we also see shares of Robinhood popping. So this seems to be again, back to the future. It's 2021 all over again. Anytime Bitcoin's up, Robinhood's up too.
Yeah, it feels that way, Kelly. So one of the things that's helping Robinhood, they had a disclosure this week that showed 75% volume growth in terms of crypto volume, at least on their platform. One of the things analysts are pointing out is that something like a Bitcoin ETF would disproportionately benefit Robinhood. They've got that younger group of traders, they've got this crypto offering, and they've got equities alongside that. So if there's a Bitcoin ETF, you got to trade it on a platform, brokerage platform versus a Coinbase, for example. If you compare those two charts, Robinhood's been up about 9% today. Mizuho estimated that Coinbase, yes, they've seen some trading volume growth, but it's only around 60% versus 75% from Robinhood. And Coinbase is listed on a partner here as sort of the custody provider, but anything that would threaten their trading volume, anything that would threaten that retail trading, that they get about 3% of a fee on that, is not seen as good news for Coinbase. So the shares pretty much flat there, but Robinhood getting a boost.
And remember, Robinhood gets paid on payment for order flow, so they would benefit because these ETFs would trade on exchange, obviously.
Great point.
All right. Bob, Kate, thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Google today unveiling details around its largest and most powerful AI language model ever. We will get a live report ahead in Tech Chat. Power Lunch is back in 2.
Brent crude futures settling out $74.30 a barrel. That's down $2.90 or 3.76%.
Welcome back. Google unveiling long-awaited new details about its large language model Gemini, not to be confused with the crypto Gemini, ramping up the race against rivals like Microsoft and OpenAI. Deirdre Bosa has the story for today's Tech Check. Dee?
Hey, John, so rather than tell you how Gemini works, I thought it would be better to just show our audience. Have a look.
See pink and green yarn. How about a dragon fruit? Or how about a green cake with a pink heart?
Okay, how about these colors? And maybe show me some animals.
Okay, now I see blue and pink yarn. How about a pig with blue ears? Or an octopus?
You get the idea. This is Google's next iteration of generative AI. Gemini is multimodal, which means that it recognizes not just text, but images and sounds and video as well. And that's what helped build this model as well. Now, it's also a version that OpenAI has already been offering for months, though Google says theirs is more powerful than any other AI system currently on the market. 6 months ago, Google's announcement, guys, might have moved the stock. Today, it hasn't done much. Even at Barclays TMT Summit down the street here in San Francisco, attendees were more focused on AI applications than the latest advancements. I asked Barclays Global Head of Tech Investment Bank, Kristen Roth de Clark, if Gemini was generating buzz. Here's what she said.
So far, I think the biggest topic at our conference so far this morning has been on what are the applications of AI and what's the real investable, impact. It's the two biggest things that we're hearing are where does AI really drive efficiencies and where does AI drive an acceleration in innovation? And that's true across not just technology companies, but how it's impacting everything from in every vertical, healthcare, education, you name it.
And that really stands in contrast to earlier this year. I was at Google I/O when they announced Search Labs, which wasn't even launched yet, but just the idea that search could encapsulate so much more, that sent Google shares up some 4%. And guys, I heard your conversation with Christina at the start of the show, at the top of the hour, around AMD's announcements and its massive step up in TAM, total addressable market. Again, the AI halo effect, that might have given the stock a bump earlier in the year, but it could also be telling us now that in 2024, next year, investors are going to be looking for more in their AI announcements, and it's going to take more to move the stocks of these companies.
Yeah, there's a lot built in. I mean, Alphabet, Google stock, up almost 50% since the start of the year. It was, around 90, and now it's 130. I wonder how much Google is talking about the ecosystem around these models. So much of what AMD and, well, especially NVIDIA has been saying lately is these partnerships, right, that are building buzz and economic activity around their technology.
Right, and you'll notice that every sort of AI announcement from the hyperscalers this year has included Jensen Huang, right, of NVIDIA. They've had him sort of on hand, and that's no different from Google earlier this year. This time, certainly a nod to the ecosystem. They talked a lot about their TPU chips, which Google is developing as sort of this alternative to the NVIDIA ones. So in terms of that ecosystem, they're all trying to do something similar, and that is work with the different layers of generative AI. So today,
so again, just to repeat that, the Biden administration to forgive
thank you very much. We appreciate it, Deirdre Bosa. Still ahead, home sweet home. Shares of Toll Brothers climbing on an earnings beat for Q4 as mortgage rates pull back from 20-year highs. We'll trade it and other earnings movers in 3 Stock Lunch when we return.
Protect your trades from macro headline risk with Financial Juice Pro. Now only $99 a year for our real-time service.
Hey, just a heads up out there. There's some I don't know if this broke earlier, but it looks like Biden administration is to forgive $4.8 billion in student loan debt for 80,000 borrowers.
It's time for today's three stock lunch, where we look at three big movers of the day, and it's all about earnings this time. Here with our trades is Brian Vendig, president of MJP Wealth Advisors. Brian, welcome to you. And let's start with Campbell Soup. They had lower sales and profit last quarter, but the shares are up nicely today. The company said they may outpace estimates for 2024 earnings per share. What would you do with the stock?
Yeah, hi, Kelly. I think this is a stock today that's getting a little bit of a bounce because the price increases that Campbell's passed through improve profitability. But this is one I think I'm a little bit skeptical about, because when we dig into the quality of earnings, we've seen that volumes were down about 5% because consumers were sensitive to price. And also the company is increasing its marketing efforts to capture share, which gives us some pause regarding the concerns about profitability moving forward and maintaining these levels. So I think there might be some better opportunities outside of Campbell Soup right now.
Well, maybe Toll Brothers shares are higher on a Q4 earnings and revenue beat. The home builder forecasts solid demand for next year. It's encouraged by lower mortgage rates. So can you buy it, or is consumer demand just too uncertain?
Yeah, John, unfortunately, I think there's still a lot of uncertainties in this space. So we're a little bearish on this one as well, at least in the short term. So when you think about the push-pull between demand and supply, we know Toll Brothers brings luxury homes to market at a pretty reasonable price point, but we know construction costs are higher, but we also know consumers' household savings have dwindled, and at the same point in time are very fickle on mortgage rates. So we know rates tick down today, which is boosting the stock and some of these expectations, but we still think there's a lot of uncertainty regarding rates next year and consumer spending. So I think there's better opportunities, John, outside of the home builder sector.
And the shares have doubled pretty much this year already, so that's an interesting one. All right, let's move along to SentinelOne then, having, I think, its best day ever. It's soaring after its earnings topped estimates. They raised their annual revenue forecast on robust cybersecurity spending, 17% pop here for S. What would you do, Brian?
Well, this one, I am not going to be a complete Grinch for the holidays. This is actually a sector that we like in the cybersecurity space, and Sentinel has a very competitive cybersecurity product that focuses primarily on enterprises and businesses while it's still trying to increase its penetration to the consumer. And as you mentioned, the dynamics of earnings today were really encouraging. We actually saw the margins improve 8% year over year, reaching a new company record of 79%. And I think that's a favorable sign moving forward. And also, the other thing to mention, on a price to sales perspective, it trades at around 7.7 times, which is quite a discount to its rival CrowdStrike, for example, from a valuation point of view. So when you think about the headwinds, the tailwinds that are there for the space, cybersecurity, generative AI, these are products that this company is bringing to market and talking about how it's going to improve the efficiency and effectiveness in analyzing threats and improving its profitability moving forward. So for us, the cybersecurity sector is definitely an allocation that we consider for someone's growth portfolio.
So give us a couple of the filters that you're using to evaluate tech stocks. Beginning of the year, there were a lot of people saying, stay away from tech entirely. That was wrong. So heading into next year, how do you decide what's worth buying?
Yeah, that's a great point, John. I think you definitely have to be selective at these valuations. I think it's a combination of looking at the momentum of what's happening regarding demand for a service or a product that one of these tech companies are bringing to market. I think you do have to be cognizant of price to earnings on a forward PE perspective. And to my point, just using Sentinel as an example, a company that is narrowing its losses, you have to take a look at sometimes things from a price to sales point of view, just to make sure that you're not overpaying for growth, John.
All right. Brian Vendig, thank you.
Thank you.
Coming up, below the belt, Amazon cutting fees for merchants selling lower priced apparel. Is this a shot at Chinese upstart Shein or acknowledgement of a threat to its e-commerce empire? We will discuss when Power Lunch returns.
your slip-ins.
We got less than 3 minutes left in the show. Several more stories you need to know. Let's get right to it. The Supreme Court is hearing a case on the legality of a tax targeting owners of foreign corporations. But the issue at the heart of the case is what counts as income. This decision could very well change tax law as we know it. And of course, it comes as there's a push to tax the ultra-rich on their wealth, even on unrealized gains. And Kelly, to me, income is what you actually have. It's not like your home equity.
Although it doesn't seem like the Supreme Court is leaning towards anything too broad in their statements here, just based on how the questioning went yesterday. We'll see what comes down in the decision, but maybe they do something kind of narrow here and leave that question up to be answered still. As you and I know, inevitably, it will have to be.
Yeah, you can avoid it.
Yeah. Apple's iMessage, meanwhile, has reportedly dodged a major regulatory setback in the European Union. According to Bloomberg, EU lawmakers have found the service does not fall under its new Digital Markets Act, which would require iMessage to be compatible with rival services like WhatsApp or Facebook. Pardon me while my head explodes, John. They were the poster child of what this law was supposed to be all about. Why are they suddenly going to be exempt from it?
I think the EU regulators were so happy that they got USB-C from Apple, right, that they were like, all right, well, you can keep iMessage. That's
I truly will see if this is confirmed and if this happens, but it seems to undermine half of the point of why they were doing it in the first place. It's just strange.
European regulators were just about to make sense. Amazon is cutting fees for online merchants selling clothing priced below $20, maybe a direct challenge to Chinese fast fashion company Shein, which just filed an IPO here in the States. I mean, this just affects how much money the sellers get to keep in this transaction.
They're going to have to do something. They're obviously losing share. And I think the real question is whether regulators ever step in and try to change the way that Shein's been dodging some of these import duties and things that have enabled it to sell cheaply. That's probably the space to watch. It makes sense Amazon's trying to keep up.
And do not miss Amazon CEO Andy Jassy on a special Mad Money in Seattle tonight. That's at 6 p.m. Eastern.
And Taylor Swift is Time's 2023 Person of the Year. She also earned the title of Most Intriguing Person of the Year from People and was #1 on Forbes' list of most powerful women in media and entertainment. Her Eras tour had taken in billions of dollars in ticket sales. This might be the first time lately I sort of vehemently agree with their pick here.
I mean, yeah, I agree, but they had to pass over Sam Altman. They had to pass over...
Or as we saw Michelle Cruz-Cabrera here earlier today, she said it could have been ChatGPT. That would have been a clever pick.
It would have been clever, but there's also a war going on in the Middle East. So they have many things if they wanted to be high-minded to go for, but Taylor Swift, certainly very powerful.
It is her world, and we're just living in it.
Beyonce's too.
Yeah, that's right. Thanks for watching Power Lunch, everybody.
Closing bell starts now.
Guys, thanks so much. Welcome to Closing Bell. I'm Scott Wapner, live from Post 9 here at the New York Stock Exchange. This make or break hour begins with the best versus the rest. The best being big tech, which has rallied the most this year, as you know. The rest, well, that's all that hasn't. The question now, is a lasting rotation underway to those once unloved areas? We'll ask our experts over this final stretch. In the meantime, your scorecard with 60 minutes to go and regulation looks like this. It is the Russell that's leading today. Small caps continuing to see a bounce back. NASDAQ's a modest loser despite Apple hanging right around $3 trillion in market cap yet again. Interest rates, well, they're falling again. Labor costs falling, ADP employment coming in below expectations. So that's what we're watching. The 2-year note yield is higher, but everything else is down. Takes us to our talk of the tape, whether that recent rotation is real and if it's truly time to turn your portfolio upside down as the new year approaches. Let's ask Liz Young, SoFi's head of investment strategy, with me here at Post 9. Nice to see you again.
You too.
That really feels like it's the conversation here. We're trying to gauge whether this is legit, whether these unloved areas that have bounced a lot since November are going to keep going at the expense of maybe mega cap tech.
Well, I think a rotation is natural after we've seen such bifurcation, such a big group of laggards in the market all year. And we're at a place where I think bullish sentiment is at the top. I don't know that we can get much more bullish. The spread between bullish and bearish sentiment in the AAII surveys is huge. So I don't think that we can get that much more optimistic. So now investors, instead of taking money out of the equity market, are just looking for other places to deploy it. Some of the things that are happening today that are a little bit confusing, though, and I've got this sort of theme of wrapped in contradictions for next year, is that you've got this story of oil down so much, yet some of the cyclical sectors are rallying. So there's this contradiction between, well, if oil is down on the heels of supply cuts, yet we've got cyclical sectors rallying, the stock market doesn't agree. There's still something going on there that isn't quite making sense. And then you've got small caps doing okay, but the indexes themselves are mixed on a day when the 10-year yield is down. So the theme today is just not clear.
You really think people are that positive? I still feel like there's so much negativity that's out there. People are almost afraid to, decide, okay, maybe the Fed's going to pull this off. Maybe we're going to have a soft landing. Maybe inflation is going to continue to come down. And maybe the economy is going to hang in there despite some signs that it's weakening. And we just don't know to the degree in which it's going to continue to do that.
I think that there have been a lot of people who have jumped over the fence into that more positive territory. And maybe it's more along the lines of there were so many that were positive, self included. I felt pretty sure that we were going to at least find out this year whether or not we'd have a recession. And I think there were a lot of people that felt the same way. The fact that we didn't, and that inflation has come down so quickly, but other things have held up so much, has, I think, convinced people that at least maybe there's more of a possibility of this soft landing idea than before.
Well, you're not fully on the bullish boat, right? I mean, you've been reluctant to kind of move more aggressively in that direction. What's been holding you back?
Because there's indicators that I can't ignore. I am absolutely aware, and I fully recognize that the market is telling us cyclicals are doing okay, the economy is doing okay. Even economic data, in a lot of cases, is telling us that we're doing okay. But the cooling is here, and there are still signals out there that are worrisome. The yield curve inversions are worrisome. Some of the behavior in yields is really worrisome. And the fact that we've got companies expecting really strong earnings next year, already at 19 times multiples on the S&P, I don't know how much further there really is to run. So if you just think about that idea in particular, if earnings go up next year, right, and the stock market stays exactly where it is, that takes care of the multiple problem. We will have PEs come down, but that doesn't make the market look all that attractive from here. So it's difficult for me to jump on a bullish bandwagon, especially in the face of what's going on in the rates market, where you've got Fed cuts being pulled more and more forward.
What do you think happens if the 10-year continues? Let's show the 10-year if we could. Because it's been a remarkable drop from 5%.
Yep.
What happens if it continues to move in this direction and goes at or below 4%? What does that do to the narrative? What does that do to sentiment? Now, there may be some who suggest, well, it's going in that direction because the economy is weakening. Others are going to say, the bulls are going to say, well, it's coming down because inflation's coming down and the Fed's going to cut, and it's going down for the right reasons.
I think they're both right. I think both sides are right. So if you remember what happened when we got that jobs data, I think it was November 3rd, that weaker jobs report, and we saw yields plummet, right? And we saw yields plummet again when we got a CPI report. We've got two big data releases coming. We've got jobs Friday this week, and then we've got CPI next week, obviously ahead of the Fed. I do think yields will continue to come down if we see cooler data. At some point, I don't know that it's going to be this year. At some point, yields will come down so quickly that it does scare markets and it does scare investors. That's natural. If yields are plummeting, if they're moving really fast, it's not necessarily about the direction that they're moving, it's the velocity that they're moving, and that starts to spook people. Treasury yields should not be seeing the kind of volatility that we've had in 2023.
Do you think one of the reasons why the market's kind of been, as Mike Santoli and others have said, digesting these gains that we had in November, is that because there really hasn't been anything to move the market all that much until you get to the jobs report, as you said, on Friday, and then you get more data heading into the Fed next week, and even then they're not expected to do anything.
Right.
Now, I suppose we'll be hanging on every single word, the tone, the inflection of the Fed chair, as we always do.
Yeah, we will. And I think this time we're going to be looking for a message shift. We're not necessarily looking for an announcement that they're done with hikes. We're not looking for an announcement that they're going to start cutting. But we're going to be looking for that tone shift of, are they satisfied? And if they start to signal that they're satisfied with the pace of economic data, I think that supports markets through year end.
Seems like we're just waiting for more information. Like we want to believe the story, but we need more confirmation to fully convince ourselves almost. And maybe that is, to your point, jobs report on Friday, another CPI that looks good, like the last one that set this whole thing off in the first place. Keith Lerner joins us now, Truist Advisory Services. He's the co-chief investment officer. It's good to see you. Look, you've been more positive of late, for sure. What now? Where do we go from here, and why do we go where you think we will?
Yeah, well, great to be with you, Scott, you and Liz. It's been a quick market change from when we spoke at the end of October. Remember, at the end of October, we were on with you on that Friday when the market found the low, and we said it was a buying opportunity. You asked us where would we nibble, and we said small caps. You know, small caps were down 17%, and we think the things that were the most oversold would bounce the most. So we've seen that play out now. As you mentioned, the market at the headline level has been digesting it. Underneath the surface, we've been seeing this rotation. You know, the way we look at it is I still think we can squeeze a bit higher here. I think that small cap trade probably has further to go. You have to realize we were, you know, on a one-year basis, we were trailing the large cap market by about 20%. That's the most since 2020, and the relative valuations got the cheapest since 1999. So I think there's a bit more to go here. I will say, as we get into 2024, the setup is a lot different than heading into last year, meaning, you know, last year in December, the market had corrected 7 or 8%. Bearishness was pervasive, right? And this year, we've had about a 13% ramp up in the market. And we're now, as Liz mentioned before, we're seeing sentiment shift a bit. So, listen, I think we still have further gains this year. I just think we're going to move into the new year and probably have a choppier period, which is also consistent with what tends to happen during an election year, where you tend to chop around in the beginning of the year before making further gains.
You think this rotation's real? And I mean real in terms of not just for another 2 to 3 weeks or, you know, a few days. Legit,
yeah, you know,
real, carries on, and you actually see a meaningful rotation where it is prudent right now to start looking at those areas, even if it means, and this is the key, even if it means taking some profits out of mega cap tech.
I think the thing where I would have high conviction is saying that the distance between the mega cap stocks and these small cap stocks is going to compress significantly. And, you know, our overall view on small caps is still neutral. We're still overweight large caps. But, you know, I think as you move into next year, the large cap stocks, or if you look at the S&P, the top 10 stocks accounted up until recently for about 80% of the gains. That's a record over the last 30 years. That's unlikely to continue. So I think as you move into next year, you want to hedge that risk by having still large cap exposure, but you want to have small cap exposure. You want to have exposure to the equal weight. But to your point, are we all in that this is, you know, the big turn for small caps? I'm not there yet, Scott, to be frank with you, but I do think it makes sense to have exposure to those areas. And what I would also say is I still think the U.S. and small caps and the equal weight look better than international, like emerging markets and developed international, which isn't getting a lot of discussion either right now.
This is such a great debate that people are having, and we've had it, not only on this program, but on Halftime too. I've had it on stages with, you know, notable guests at conferences that our network has had. John Rogers, a famous value investor, says mega cap stocks are coming down, and a renaissance for value investors like himself are going to go up. Then Brad Gerstner comes on, known as a, you know, again, a famous tech investor, and says this is not rocket science. This is where the growth is. It's where the growth is going to be. It's where the trend is. It's not going to stop anytime soon.
Well, the intention of equities in a portfolio is typically to produce growth. So I would imagine that people are going to look for growth in the places that they can find it. I want to go back to the conversation with Keith a little bit. I think the tipping point here, when you were asking about, is this rally real? The tipping point is if we get people starting to take money out of treasuries, out of money markets, and put it into the equity market, a rational investor would start doing that when they stop making as much in a coupon or whatever the interest rate is in those instruments, and put it back into stocks, because that's where you can earn more and that's where you have more capital appreciation opportunity. People won't do that if they're nervous, right? If treasury yields are dropping, even if they get low and it's no longer attractive to get that yield, if they're nervous and they're dropping for the wrong reason, they're not going to take their money out and put it back into the equity market. If they're dropping for good reasons, and it makes more sense to put money into stocks and find more opportunity there, that's what makes the rally durable. At this point, the money is just moving, the same money is just moving around in the equity market.
What move to you looks more overdone? The buying of bonds or the buying of stocks?
Buying of stocks.
Looks more overdone.
Yes, hands down. Because stocks right now, I think, this is my opinion, I think that they're pricing in yes, a normalization of rates next year. The idea that the Fed can do it because they want to, not because they have to. But they're also pricing in pretty good earnings growth, almost a steady state of GDP growth, and a spendy consumer that keeps on spending. And I don't think that all of that is going to continue at this same clip.
But so you think you're still going to get money going into bonds, but you're a wrong reasons person. That's why you think it.
Yes.
Right? I mean, that's why you would say you don't think it's overdone. That you're going to get more money going in there because as the economy worsens, people are going to get more, I think you used the word worried, and continue to buy bonds.
Yes. And the reason I think that we've shifted our focus from inflation now onto the labor market. This is a big week for labor data. We've gotten ADP that was below expectations. We've gotten JOLTS that was below expectations, recognizing JOLTS still way above where they were pre-pandemic. But things are coming in cooler, and the market has liked it so far. We get that jobs data on Friday. We're right beneath 4% unemployment rate. I'm willing to bet that as it moves above 4%, if it moves above 4%, people will start to get a little bit jittery. That's a number that we haven't seen. That's a handle that we haven't seen in a long time. And the problem with the unemployment rate is that it starts to gain velocity as it rises. And we've had this really tiny turn, this slow turn up in the unemployment rate. As it does that, it usually starts slowly, but then it gains velocity on the upside, and that's what I'm concerned with.
Keith, what's the probability, do you think, next year of a so-called everything rally? Stocks go up, bonds continue to go up, gold continues to go up, Bitcoin continues to go up. Now you take oil out because oil is below 70 and it seems to be trending in one direction and one direction only. Famous last words, of course, until it reverses, but you know my point.
Yeah, listen, that's a hard question to answer. But don't forget, it's an election year. It tends to be a choppier period. We're going to have 40 elections around the globe. This kind of delicate balance with what the Fed's trying to maneuver between this kind of soft landing and a recession. I think it's going to be difficult for everything to go up. And even we talked about, you just talked about is, bonds overdone or stocks overdone. They're moving the same way. It's interesting. You look at the bond market and longer-term bonds, they're up about 11% since the low, almost in line with stocks. So they're actually moving somewhere together. And when you look at the 10-year itself, we've had 4 times over the last 18 months where we've moved down about 80 basis points. So as we get closer to 4%, maybe a little bit below 4%, I actually think you'll start to see a little bit of stability there. And I just think it's going to be a market next year where there's going to be tactical opportunities. But I don't think it's going to be an everything market. I think it's going to be a selective market. And I think you can see periods of time where stocks, you're going to have stocks up 10, 15% and others down 10, 15%. So unlike this year, which was a really difficult time for active managers because of the concentration, I think you'll have a much more fertile environment for just stock picking.
But don't you think, Liz, that if stocks can maintain some sort of reasonable pace and yields continue to come down because inflation continues to come down, why would somebody stay in a money market where you're not getting near 5% anymore, but you may get better than that in stocks? So you don't get a rotation out of mega cap into these other areas of the market, loved to unloved, hot to not, whatever. You just get it from cash.
Right.
What's the probability of that?
That would be the soft landing probability. That wouldn't be my base case, but that's the idea that supports there being a continued rally or a continued catch-up from the laggards. If you're deploying fresh cash into the market, you're looking for things that are priced attractively. And the things that would be priced attractively, especially if we're inching toward a scenario where people think we averted recession, the things that are priced attractively in that are going to be things like small caps and cyclicals. You're looking at financials, some of the sectors that we've been waiting on because we know that there are problems, but it hasn't been confirmed that there's going to be a bigger problem. That's where I think you start to see the cash be deployed to.
You don't think we're seeing that already? In other words, there's nothing to.
Sure.
So the Nasdaq has underperformed lately, but as I look here, I mean, it's still up 5% in a month. But stocks like Apple has had such a great rebound. It's back above $3 trillion, or right about there right now in market cap. So I find it hard to believe Nvidia is $450. I find it hard to believe that money is just going to come out of these names.
I don't think it would come out. I think they probably just hold steady. I don't think that they'll be the runaway winners next year. If that's the case, if we have the soft landing, if we avert recession, I don't think tech would be the runaway winner. It doesn't necessarily mean they would lose money, but I think it would be more attractive to put new, fresh capital into more attractively valued sectors.
Keith, last point to you on that same question.
Yeah, listen, I don't think it's time to give up on tech yet. Tech outperforms when earnings momentum starts to crack. Earnings momentum relative to the market is still strong. I think there's a rotation. I think you stick with the large cap area. You definitely want to have more small caps than maybe you would have had a year ago. And be patient. You know, be patient for the rotation as opposed to trying to press that is happening, right now. So I would just say, I would not give up on big tech yet.
Would you set your alarm? You thought this segment was going to be over at 3:16 and not 17? Is that what that was?
I didn't know you want to keep me on this one, but I certainly appreciate the extra time with this, Scott.
Hey, man, the alarm goes off. I got to call you out. It's good having you on. Keith, thanks. Liz, thanks to you as well.
Thank you.
Liz Young. All right, let's get a check on some top stocks to watch as we head into the close. Steve Kovac is here with us today for that. Hey, Steve.
Hey, Scott. Yeah, Plug Power and Bloom Energy are both under pressure as Morgan Stanley issues a downbeat forecast for the fuel cell industry. Analysts say rising rates and renewable electricity prices are creating poor economics and uncertain futures for these companies. As a result, they're cutting their price targets for both stocks. And Avis budget is jumping after the car rental giant announced a special cash dividend of $10 a share. The company also says it plans to continue buying back stock through the end of the year. Shares up roughly 16% year to date, far outpacing rival Hertz, which is down 40% so far this year. Scott.
All right, Steve, we'll see you in just a bit. Steve Kovac, thank you very much. We're just getting started here. Up next, AMD holding its big AI event this afternoon. We're going to break down the new
Just
announcements
remember here
they
that
have,
gamma
how it's
bar, that
impacting
floor
the
is
stock,
at
the chip wars,
45.15
and just about everything
on
else with chip
Spooks.
analyst, the
45.15
Star One,
on
Stacey
Spooks.
Rascon, just after this break. We're live from the New York
On
Stock
SPX.
Exchange. You're watching Closing Bell on CNBC.
It's actually lower. The dip buy is way down. Just so you guys know that the 45.15 is way 45.15, even farther down. Right there is the target. Right there. Just so you can see it. Right down there.
2025.
All right, we're back. Shares of AMD. Well, they're down today after the company announces a new AI chip at their Advancing AI event this afternoon. Let's bring in Bernstein's top chip analyst, Stacy Rascon, to discuss. Good to see you.
Good to be here.
Welcome back. Why is the stock down?
You know, look, it was fine as it was, I think. You know, they had some they announced the products. They had some interesting benchmarks. They had some partner announcements. I don't think anything was really unexpected, though, from what we heard. And, I mean, you've got sort of like a classical sell the news event. That's all. It was fine for what it was.
Right. I mean, the bottom line is how quickly, I guess, how quickly they can produce these and how quickly they can better compete with NVIDIA and or others. How would you answer that?
Yeah, you remember, so they already gave us some numbers for what they expected revenues to be next year. They said more than $2 billion, which is not a big number. You have to remember, like, if NVIDIA does $70 billion in data center revenues next year, that will be viewed as disappointing. $2 billion or even $3 billion or $4 or whatever, it's a rounding error in that sense. And I think that's part of the reason, frankly, that AMD stock has been strong. For NVIDIA, people are worried about an air pocket. They're worried the numbers are so big it just can't be sustainable. With AMD, I mean, the numbers are not enormous, but, you know, they can probably make them. And so that's why the stock has been okay. But, I mean, in the grand scheme of things, it's not a big number relative to where the market seems to be going. This, by the way, was the sort of the biggest, if you want to talk about new things that they maybe gave. You know, they took up their forecast for long-term prospects for the AI accelerator industry. In 2027, you know, they were saying 150 billion, and now they're saying 400 billion. And again, like, who knows? But if that's anywhere close to try, I mean, it's presumably bullish for AMD, but it's probably bullish for everybody in the ecosystem, especially like players like NVIDIA, if the market's going to be that big. But we kind of already know what AMD is going to ship next year, and they didn't really give us any color, any changes to that. Not that anybody expected them to. They just gave us the number a few weeks ago anyways.
Right. And you're confident that they have the capacity to do what they say?
Yeah, I mean, they said more than two. $2 billion by itself last year was reasonably disappointing. I think the bulls out there in AMD were quite a bit higher than that. But if they're saying more than two, you know, if they did 3 or they did 4, you can look at some of the supply chain checks, and assuming all the orders are real, you could get numbers like that. But in the grand scheme of where I think the overall market is going next year, it's still very, very small. So that's not great because it's small, but it's also good because it gives you more confidence that they can actually get there. Right? So
who's gonna buy these? And I guess I asked that in the context of, will customers who are already in relationships with NVIDIA or had planned to buy NVIDIA chips, are they going to also buy AMD chips?
You know, so the hyperscalers will, and they had some partner announcements. You know, they had Microsoft up on stage with them, and they had Oracle, and they had Meta. And those guys will buy both, and they'll deploy both. I think it's a question of magnitude and degree, though. I mean, you can buy NVIDIA and you can buy AMD, and you can be deploying both, but I think the difference in scale between the two is still going to be pretty massive. We still don't know what the enterprise side of things look like. You know, they had Dell and Lenovo and Supermicro, so those guys will have platforms that they will be offering to enterprise customers. I think it remains to be seen how much demand there may actually be from the enterprise. I would say right now, by the way, you have to remember there's demand for these things in part because there's demand for data center GPUs in general, and there just aren't enough to go around, right? And so I think at least right now you're probably exploring anything you can because there just aren't enough like Hopper chips and everything to buy. I also suspect that there's a degree of, you know, like you don't really want to have a single source for anything. And, you know, if you're a customer, you'd love to have something else in your pocket when you're sitting across the table from Jensen at NVIDIA and like negotiating on this. And so there's an aspect of that as well. But I'd say like NVIDIA, at least just given the magnitudes of the dollars we're seeing, NVIDIA is clearly in the driver's seat here. Like AMD is a piece of this. There's a thesis on AMD that I have some sympathy for, which says the opportunity is so big that even if they just get the dribs and drabs of it, it's enough, right? You know, it's $100 billion, you know, they'll get 5%. Yeah, again, there's maybe some validity to that, right? But it also suggests that there are other players in the ecosystem that are likely to get far more than that, right? Well, and that's where AMD is right now.
All right, well, let's go there then, lastly, because Broadcom's going to report tomorrow, right?
Yes.
What does all this mean for it?
Yeah, you bet. So on the AI side, Broadcom they do networking. And AMD actually had Broadcom up on stage with them. They were talking about Ethernet, and they're opening up their Infinity Fabric. Broadcom's going to support it. Broadcom also does some of the custom chips for the hyperscalers, Google in particular, and that's been a very strong driver of revenue growth this year, and it will be a strong driver next year. I suspect people are a little nervous about the core business, like Cisco and some of the others who do networking were not so great. The math suggests that for the quarter they're about to report, Broadcom, I think, is already implicitly guiding for this quarter their non-AI, non-wireless business. If you do the math, probably down double digits sequentially already. AI is actually bridging the gap. I suspect that AI revenue is going to be stronger next quarter. We're seeing it stronger everywhere else. And then the really important thing that people are looking at is VMware. Like they closed the VMware deal. I think it's significantly accretive, and they are going to guide with VMware in the numbers for next quarter. Broadly, it's not in the street numbers. I suspect regardless, numbers probably go up. That may be enough for Broadcom.
So lastly, before I let you go, just to tease an interview that's coming up, because Christine is going to speak with Lisa Su of AMD, of course, at 4:30. What's the most important thing you think you need to hear from her? As you assess what all of this is going to mean, you think you know, what does she need to say to you?
I mean, look, we got some of this. Like, we saw some of the partner announcements, and that's most of what I was looking for today was who is up on stage with them. And again, I don't know if it was unexpected, but they had they had Microsoft and some others up there, so that's good. I mean, ultimately, we want to see like what the trajectory is. Where are the orders? Who is buying? How much are they buying? Can they upside? We're not going to know that today. I doubt she's going to say anything about that, this afternoon. But as we go through the next several quarters, I mean, that's what people want to know. How big can this be, and how much share can they get? And that's something that they will just have to deliver on as we go for the for the next several quarters and through next year.
Appreciate you giving us your rundown of what happened and what you think lies ahead. Stacey, thank you. Appreciate it very much. That's Stacey Rascon joining us once again here on Closing Bell. Up next, looking beyond the Magnificent Seven, Alger's Anka Crawford is back with us. Says her winning strategy is actually outside of the mega cap. She's going to break down her 2024 playbook after the break. Closing Bell, right back.
Just a heads up, it's pretty sketchy here, but I just loaded up on some 458Cs for tomorrow just now. I'm going to try to cut these loose before the close.
Early market and closing balance currently sitting at 661 million to the sell side.
Let me show you guys why I bought that dip right there. Hold on a second here. I'm just going to show you guys why I'm buying that dip. Not necessarily convinced here that it's worth buying the dip, but let me, hold on, let me get it. Hold on a second, guys. Can I just show my screen? Hold on 1 second here, brothers. Right in here.
We're back on Closing Bell. Value has been outperforming over the past few weeks, with the group coming off its best month in more than a year. But my next guest says
So
2024 will be a year for
this
the growth trade,
demand down here
that
right
investors
there,
should be
demand
looking
right here,
beyond the
demand
mega
right
caps.
here,
Joining me here at Post 9,
demand right here.
Alger's Ankur
But,
Crawford is back. Welcome back.
Whatever buying that
This is
that
beyond,
actually
not
likely
instead
comes
of
back down and
the mega
slams
cap
down
trade,
into
right?
the
Because you
square
own a lot of the mega
of
caps.
course.
Yeah,
Right?
it's
Be careful
beyond
if you're
and
gonna
not
try to buy
instead
this.
of. I mean,
You're likely
look,
gonna try to trap you in
2023
the
was
overnight.
what I call a discovery year.
If you're
We discovered
if
Gen
you're a,
AI,
bull.
and
So,
the
like,
mega
limited
caps ended up
bullishness here,
having these
or
discovery
more
type
blood to come,
moves
this would be the
in
dip buy
which
for the bulls down here.
they were the drivers of this Gen AI trade, but now they've been discovered. So
they're already
there's
printing.
still
Good job.
earnings growth ahead. The valuations we don't think are ridiculously stretched, in part because the numbers have come up so much through the course of the year. However, we have to see a market that is broader than just the Mag 7.
Do you still think the Mag 7, though, are going to have a good 2024? Like, what do you think the returns are going to be as well? I mean, they don't need to be 20% or higher for each stock, but are there ones that you still think have more upside than others based on what you own?
I think there is.
You don't?
I think there is going to be a bifurcation in the Mag 7, i.e., Microsoft that has a definitive AI growth driver behind it right now, and we start to monetize Copilot, or NVIDIA that really trades at and might I say, a measly 20 multiple.
You guys, hold on a second here.
Well, it is less than it was.
It is less than it was. I think those stocks can work. Meta that has definitive product cycle drivers.
You guys can't hear me over
work.
CNBC. Let me turn off CNBC. Can you guys hear me now? Sorry about that. Sorry, I'm like doing a bunch of shit over here in the corner. Hang tight. Let me see if I can do it this way. It's easy. Can I show this down here? There we go. Does that work? Okay, so this is SPX right here. This is the 4515 gamma bar. This is SPX that we're going to look at. I'm just going to show this to you. Make this large. So 4515 is right here, okay? Right where it says doom below, gamma bar, all this stuff right here, right? So you've got, this is where you should be buying a dip, 4515, okay? But you have all this known demand down here. You see all that known demand? So you're going to expect buyers to step in here no matter what, all right? Probably run this back up, and then you get the move down here. Just be careful here to this close. You could see a big squeeze come in, and then you might see that more continued blood to the downside to 45.15 tomorrow. Could happen today, but might happen tomorrow. Now on SPY, I'm going to show this to you on SPY as well. So just right here is a simplified way of looking at it, right? So you have known demand here, here, all that shit, right? There. So do I think I think buyers get rolled here at least into tomorrow, but saying that to where real demand is, which is actually back here. This is at 45.15 is down here. I think I wrote negative gamma, but the negative gamma is actually lower. It's 45.15. It's right here, right down there. Let's put this down here, 45.15. So your negative gamma is actually way down here. So if you have the expectation of buyers stepping in right somewhere up in this vicinity here, buyers to step in right here, but they can still roll this down easily into tomorrow. Bam, slap that 45.15, and that's your dip buy right there. I'll put you back real quick. Did they hear me that time? I hope they can hear me out. Let me see if I can go back to CNBC. Anyways, I'm on calls here, and we'll see. Let me see what we got here, CNBC. Jamie Dimon lashes out against crypto. That's because he doesn't fucking. If he fucking owned crypto, he would fucking be fine with it. That's why it's like direct.
It's not going to be like an easy year.
Well, this year wasn't an easy year. I mean, it was anything but. It looks easy if you don't know anything under the surface. You look at the returns this year and you're like, wow, stocks have had a great year. They really haven't outside of the 7. Now, of late, they've certainly looked better, but you know my point.
Yeah, I mean, it felt easier, I think, than 2024 will be, especially if you had picked the right stocks.
No wonder why you feel like that. I forgot of the stocks you owned, Microsoft, Nvidia. Of course you think it was easy.
But next year it will be a different regime, and it will become more of a stock picker's market where you kind of have to find that needle in a haystack, and you have to be agile in your thinking because the data is going to dictate the direction of the market.
All right, I appreciate you being back. Ankur, thanks. That's Ankur Crawford at Post 9. Up next, we're tracking the biggest movers as we head into the close. Steve Kovac is standing by once again with that. Steve?
Hey, Scott. Yeah, shares of one tobacco company getting smoked today and a cybersecurity company having its best day ever following a strong earnings report. We'll reveal the names when Closing Bell returns after this.
Some other news here too. U.S. crude falls below $70 a barrel, closing at the lowest level since June. Heads up there on that CL. If you see oil start trading like $60, $62, there is if you're one of those, hey, we're going to go into recession, gang, crude oil will tell you that a worldwide recession is on its way. So they're trying to price that in right now on crude.
Looking at the early market and closing balance, still sitting at 661 million to the sell side.
Got about 17, 18 minutes to go before the closing bell. Steve Kovac is looking at the stocks that we need to pay attention to as we approach the close. Steve?
Hey, Scott. Yeah, British American Tobacco is having its worst day in over 3 years after saying it would take a roughly $31 billion impairment on its U.S. cigarette brands. The move comes as the company shifts away from traditional smoking products, saying the write-down reflects the economic future of its cigarette brands. And SentinelOne is having its best day ever after reporting better than expected results and strong fourth quarter guidance. Morningstar analysts say the cybersecurity company is an emerging challenger in a space that includes large rivals like CrowdStrike and Microsoft. Scott.
All right, Steve, appreciate that. Steve Kovac. Up next, a big bank bounce. Shares of Citigroup are rallying today, now up nearly 3%. We'll tell you what's behind that leg higher just ahead. Closing bell right back.
I didn't see any of I didn't see what some of the I'm not reading the comments right now. I see Chase making a comment. Chase, you want to go back in again at the bell, brother?
Early market on closing balance currently sitting at 689 million to the sell side.
I'm sitting in 458 C's for tomorrow, but I'm not trying to hold them in tomorrow. I'm trying to just hold them up into the close, because I think they're going to roll down one more. The problem with tomorrow is a fucking problem here. Hold on, let me mute all this stuff. I was just talking to in the background. I was just talking to Binky, and you might be better served doing it in futures and not in cash market. The one problem here is if they slam down into 45.15 on SPX, and then before the opening cash market, they squeeze that fucker back up. So it's a better trade for futures in the overnight than it is for cash market trade. It's kind of suck. Like puts kind of suck when it comes to this stuff. You might catch it in the morning, but is anyone going to buy it from you is the question, right? So you might be better served trying to short futures tonight and stay away from the cash market. Calendar puts are good too. I like those too.
So just taking a look at the market on closing balance for today's session, currently sitting at 2.4 billion to the sell side. Just wait for the final orders to come through before we call it. So that's the market on closing balance for today's session, 2.4 billion to the sell side. Again, 2.4 billion to sell.
supply. OPEC can't get any kind of output cuts together, it seems. And for now, it's also seasonally weak, so we can wait for things to gather up. As I mentioned, dollar has firmed, and all the things that we look at that sort of didn't really work to get the crude price moving have been well in place for a couple months.
Energy is down 1.6% today. It's down 11%. Quarter to date. Utilities are an outperformer in a big way today. And I know, that's no surprise, obviously, where yields continue to head.
Yeah, so the pure yield plays are, getting a little bit of a boost on this. Real estate has been an interesting spot. They've sort of broken a downtrend and have definitely gotten the benefit of this idea that both yields are helping and, we haven't seen the sort of blow-ups we've been waiting for in that area either. So again, we see the, sort of attempt at rotation this morning. And I view it more as not so much you sell one group of stocks to buy the other, but almost literally every long-only fund owns Microsoft. You already own it if you're in the market. And so it's a matter of what you do with the incremental dollar. And do you put it elsewhere? Do you spread it around a little bit and just feel as if that there are some, darker corners of the market that nobody's playing in right now?
Well, speaking of that, it makes me think of what's been going on in the market, that all of the so-called chasers are already now in the race. There's nobody left to push this market higher between now and the end of the year.
Yeah, well, look, there's always somebody who can want to get more long, or if the market does catch a spark, you're going to have people get levered to it. But I agree that the people who felt forced to participate, that happened. The Goldman data is very clear about that in terms of CTAs binging on stocks just to make sure they had enough of the index. That's commodity trading advisors, the systematic hedge funds, and all the rest. So now it's about, do the numbers come through? The fourth and first quarter earnings look plausible or not? And, whatever little seasonal fairy dust gets sprinkled on the market, we'll see if that can work too. If you really get more, Goldilocks type data as we've had for a while, it's hard to see, a truly big shock hitting this market, but remains to be seen.
Makes me think that tomorrow you get a holding pattern day because you're not going to want to get ahead of jobs on Friday.
No, exactly. I agree. And we're back to jobs mattering. We're back to you want good enough news, if not blistering hot economic numbers from this point on.
Yeah, we kind of got it with ADP. We'll see what the big numbers that backs it up. That's it for us. We're out red. I'll see you tomorrow into OT with Morgan and John.
Well, a bit of a slump in the last hour brings you your scorecard on Wall Street, but winners stay late. Welcome to Closing Bell Overtime. I'm John Fort with Morgan Brennan.
Coming up this hour, a can't-miss interview with AMD CEO Lisa Su as the company announces its answer to NVIDIA's AI chip. She will join us first on CNBC.
Plus, another big hour of earnings is coming with results from Chewy, GameStop, and C3 AI. We will talk to C3 AI CEO Tom Siebel before he talks to analysts on Wall Street. We begin with the market.
All right, that was the close. I'll be with you guys tomorrow. I've got a meeting tonight at 8 o'clock. We have a late night tonight with a bunch of guys, and I will see you guys 9:30.